All right, welcome back. Module 3.9, the next essential ingredient in your irresistible home run offer, scarcity and urgency. Hopefully you figured out your guarantee. You've been following along and taking action alongside me in this module. It's very important that you do that. And we're coming down towards the end, but this is an important one. Holy cow, it's an important one. Scarcity and urgency. Here is what we're going to talk about. And I can't tell you how many people I know, and it used to be me, so I smile and laugh, that have that product, that amazing course, just sitting there for sale on their website all the time. And then, no one buys. And then we wonder why we're not making sales, right? So it kind of starts, I really like to talk about this concept that, the idea that the brain consumes 30% of your body's energy in a resting state. It takes a lot of calories to keep your brain pumping. All that thinking, that stuff going on in your noggin. And so part of survival is conserving energy. You got to conserve that energy, which means, that's where things like decision fatigue sink in, because we've just consumed so much that our brain is just wants to conserve that energy. So making decisions like buying your stuff, the brain's going to really try and put that off, delay it. Don't believe me? Just go check out your Amazon wish list and how many products and stuff you want to buy that you haven't purchased yet. Someday, one day, right? And so you really want to consider that, there's people on the internet that have seen your stuff and they've actually just made the decision in their mind. Yes. They've said, oh yeah, I want this. Oh yeah, I need this. Oh yeah, I do this. I have this. I have a list of courses and books and stuff, and it's just get this someday, one day, and it's just on a to-do list app. But I haven't done it yet. But you don't know. You can't read their mind, so you don't know. You might be like, James, I haven't made any sales yet. It's yeah, but you might have had all these yeses. They just haven't backed it up with action. And scarcity and urgency creates an environment that causes someone to make a decision backed by action. It forces someone to make a decision. It doesn't force someone to buy. It's very important. It forces them to make a decision. And look, if you want to help people, this is how you do it. Because at the end of the day, the reason why people are in problems that haven't been solved yet is because they haven't made a decision to actually solve the problem in their life. They haven't made the decision backed by action and commitment to make a change, to do something differently. Creating this offer and having the scarcity and the urgency as part of it creates an environment where they're finally forced to do that. Say yes or say no, instead of this maybe someday, one day. Sitting on the fence doesn't just hurt, but it doesn't do any good. And that's what this does. And if you're not doing this for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe there's reasons I think it's too sleazy, pushy, salesy. No, it's not sleazy, pushy, or salesy. There are pushy, sleazy, salesy people who use tools in a sleazy way. But in and of itself, it's not pushy. And I'm going to show you how you can do this in a very ethical, non-sleazy way. We're going to look specifically at two ways to do this. First, creating urgency through time-based deadlines. Okay? So whenever you close your doors, so that's why I say for myself, it's closing down enrollment, you're offering a deadline. This creates urgency with a time-based deadline. Doors close tonight at midnight. All right? So this is the last day to decide. There you go. There's your urgency. What helps, and we're going to talk about this in the next video, is having the narrative, the why behind it. And I just tell people, here's what you say first. It's time to make your decision because we close enrollment down tonight at midnight, right? Make your decision before midnight tonight. Not buy necessarily you need to buy before. It's just make your decision about whether you're in or not. And the why here is really important. You can make up your own narrative, whatever's true for you, but this is what's true for me. I don't want to be marketing and selling all year long. So I say, this is the time where I focus on getting our new members, and then I stop getting new members so I can focus my time on helping my new members. If I was always launching all year long, I couldn't help my members. My team couldn't help the members either. We'd be too busy launching, too busy selling. So this is why. And that works for me, right? So whatever's true for you, use that. But it helps to tell people why as well. And you're going to hear more of that in the next video. It's very important. Okay, and the other way is, of course, through scarcity. Limited spots, right? A number of seats. This will get people to act fast as long as the number is low. If you say, like, only 1,000 people, I don't know, that doesn't always have some scarcity associated with it. Unless you're like, I have an email list of 1 million people. This invite just went out to 1 million people and I have 1,000. So it's always relative, but you have to communicate that. But let's say you had your founding member beta launch for the first 10 people. Ooh, there's some scarcity. You don't even need a deadline because you can get those first 10 to fill up before the deadline, right? And then the narrative behind that is you want to work with a smaller group of people, or it's quality over quantity, or whatever. I don't know. It's going to be dependent on, each context is going to be different, right? But you want to have a reason why. Like, for example, we have Mastermind. We only allow a certain amount of seats, and it's because I like to keep it intimate. Too many people dilutes it. We keep it intimate, okay? So I hope this helps. Yeah? All right. So whatever your offer is, the next time you launch it, you got to have some way you're creating urgency and or scarcity. Make sure you figure that out, even if it's just as simple as saying, having a deadline, closing this down. Live or automated. Yes, you can do this automated. And then I'm going to see you in the next video. The next video is like the most overlooked and really important ingredient to really wrapping up the little bow on your home run irresistible offer. So I'll see you in that next video. All right, welcome back. This is module 3.8, risk reversal. Now, this is a big one. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a strategy for your risk reversal. So let's get right into this. What do we mean by this? Well, this is your strategy that you're going to deploy in your offer for overcoming probably the biggest and most common objection of all, which is risk, right? These questions like, well, what if this doesn't work? What if it's not what I expected or hoped or wanted? What if I don't have what it takes? What if this is just a scam? What if I don't really trust this person, right? That fear of loss and risk is powerful. And if you think that someone's going to buy while you still have, while they still have these thoughts in their head, think again, right? So that's our job. We must eliminate this. And there's a really simple strategy for doing that. The guarantee. That's why guarantees exist. And we have to be strategic about it. So now you know the underlying principle behind why a guarantee is there. We need to ask, what are they afraid of? What risks did they think they are taking? And when we know that, we can identify how can we best eliminate that risk for them. Now, one way is like the guarantee, but there's so many different guarantees, and I'm going to go over 6 with you. And again, you're not necessarily limited to, I guess, calling it a guarantee. I'm sure there's numerous ways that we could really eliminate risk. And I know we do it through social proof, testimonials, and stuff like that. But it doesn't fully do it because it could sit there and say, well, okay, it works for them, but what if it doesn't work for me? Or how do I know those are real? There's so many other things that still can come up. So let's start with the first one. This is the most common one. This is the standard, the 30, the 60, the 90-day guarantee. And by the way, longer usually sees lower refund rates. Interesting story, fun fact there. Most people, when they do a longer guarantee, they see fewer refund rates. Maybe because it gives them more time to really sink their teeth into the program. Here's an example from 48 Hour Film School. And notice, there's this great copy around it. So feel free to, be inspired by this copy. Don't just copy, paste, plagiarize, but be inspired by this. Your 30-day worry-free guarantee. I am personally committed to providing extraordinary training that makes a positive impact for my students and their businesses. If you are not completely blown away by the content and experience of the education inside 48 Hour Film School, simply send an email to support James Wedmore for a full refund. No hurdles, no hiding, no questions asked. And then I have a little note here. If the only thing holding you back from actually taking action, investing in your business is a fear of, will this work for me, or how can I trust that this is the right for my business, I encourage you to reread my words above. I will honor this guarantee without exception because I'm committed to give the best experience possible to my students. And if we're not a right fit, I'm here to rectify the situation. Now, when I say that, does that start to dissipate some of that risk? Well, okay, great. Let's do this. That's what we're talking about. And we got to be willing to do that. Now, you can go crazy, because I love to do crazy, 365-day. That's crazy long, right? That gives people a lot of faith that they don't have to rush this. There's no I gotta get results in 30 days. And that's the tricky thing that you're going to see with a 30-day guarantee is people might then build up this expectation that they have to get a result in 30 days. That's why I prefer longer ones. There's also the no guarantee. What? This is a very counterintuitive approach. How can if a guarantee is what eliminates risk, how does no guarantee eliminate risk? Well, I'll tell you. It has to be done properly, right? And here's one I just kind of made up. Okay, I just wrote this on the spot for you guys. But it goes something like this. Because I'm not here to waste my time with any opportunity speakers or seekers or serial course buyers, for that reason, there is no refunds available. No refunds. And I'm so sure that if you actually use the program, it works, period. If you work, right? If you're not serious and committed about your business, don't bother buying. If you just want to buy to see what's inside so you can cancel, don't bother. This isn't for you. This is only for serious and committed business owners. Yeah, that bottom line was just text for you guys. It's intense. But notice the no guarantee can convey wow, she knows her stuff works, or he knows his stuff works. It can eliminate risk. It's how it's presented. But the point is that I hope you're getting is that we must be strategic in how we address this fear. So let's talk about the fourth one, the conditional guarantee. Conditional guarantee states that the customer can only get a refund if they show proof of work, whether it's finishing the program, attending the calls, or doing the homework. This is important because it's about saying if you do the program works if you do the work. And here's an example of ours, 365 days to put everything to the test, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If at any time you decide it's not a right fit for you, email our support, get your complete refund. All I ask is that you show me you've done the work. Why do I ask that you show me you've done the work? You won't get results if you don't take action. I can't help you if you don't do the work. I don't want to waste any of my time with someone who's purchasing a program without putting it to use. Okay, so there's copy example for a conditional guarantee. Number 5, the results guaranteed guarantee. Ooh, I like this one. This starts getting really good. Let customers know that if they don't get a result, they're going to get their money back. That really puts it on the line, which I love. Get your first client in 30 days, or this program is free. We're so confident this program will work for you that if you actually do the work and take the action, if you don't get at least one client in 30 days, we'll give you your money back and let you keep the program absolutely free. This way, we put all the risks on ourselves, and you only pay for the program if you're making money. Boom. We did that with our Nail Your Niche workshop. Nail your niche by the end of this workshop or your money back. What a great guarantee. There's just no risk, right? There it is right there. When you join us for our $297 masterclass, I guarantee you'll walk away by the end of this training having clearly identified your niche or your money back. In other words, if you don't know exactly who you are here to help and how you help them by the end of this class, all you need to do is email Rose, my customer support liaison, and I'll happily refund 100% of your funds. No questions asked. Plus, you get to keep all the recordings and the PDFs. Boom, right? 6, the double your money back guarantee. Oh, yeah. The 6th one, the last one is the really radical one. Now, we've done this. It worked phenomenally well. And it's basically paying people if they're not happy. There's actually 2 guarantees, right? So the first guarantee is just a refund. You have 30, 60 days, 90 days. Wasn't for me. Send us an email, get your money back. But then there's the second guarantee. The second guarantee is if they do the work and don't get the results, we'll pay you blank dollars, usually the amount of the program. In this case, they'd get, like it's $1,000. They'd get $1,000 back, plus we'll pay $1,000, just because of your time commitment. Now, that is super enticing to somebody who's on the fence. Like, look, if you don't get any results, and you can show the work, obviously, then we'll pay you. It's a double your money back guarantee. And I think we've had to do that to one person. We did this with Local Video Academy. A few people reached out and we said, okay, here's the criteria. You have to show us that you've done this, 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 and this. And none of them could. It's like, yeah, because it works. If you do the work, it's going to work, right? Maybe not on your first go around, but nothing's got a 100%, foolproof method. It's like, hey, if you do this 5 times and you don't get one, then like, yeah, boom, right? So we set those criteria up for them ahead of time. And then if someone asked or requested it, we said, hey, have you hit these 5 criteria? If so, let's book a call to show it to us. People couldn't. But that's because we confidently believe in our stuff. And it's just a great marketing strategy. Okay, so we've gone over 6 specific types of guarantees, including the double and the no guarantee. Is that funny? They just like totally different, and they can both totally work. And now you got to choose one. Skipping this step would be a big mistake, because no one's going to buy if that has risk in their heart, fear, that much fear. No, it's not going to happen. So pick one or come up with your own strategy, but it better be better than one of these. Okay, so don't get in your head about it. Pick one that just kind of feels good for you. You can always change it. That's the beautiful thing, is you can always try different guarantees in every launch and promotion. Okay, all right. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. All right, welcome back. Module 3.11 here. I know this has been a long one, but you also know just how important, vitally important, nailing your offer is. And I'd rather take more time here than necessary so you can get it right than to rush over this. So I appreciate you still sticking with me here. Now, we've gone over everything you need. If you're the type of person, though, that really learns, or rather deepens your learnings through great examples, then you're really going to enjoy this video, because I'm that type of person. I'm more like, okay, show me what worked, and I can kind of, in my own mind, reverse engineer. So I want to do that with you. Now, again, what I'm giving you are examples in different niches and several of my own products that are great offers, okay? And you're going to learn more throughout the rest of this entire program. You're going to learn more when you go to BBD Live. You're going to learn more when you connect with other members. But here's a couple examples right here for you right now. So let's get right into them. Let's look at video ROI. Now, short version, it was originally called Video Traffic Academy. Video ROI, same thing. And the kind of the headline there is pretty much the promise of the offer. Attract more clients with YouTube. Okay. Basically, by the way, I'm not going to go over all 7 with these, like what was the guarantee and what was the price and all that stuff. This was a $197 or $177 program, online course. Get your videos ranked and found at the top of YouTube and Google so you can reach more people and attract more customers. This program and Video Traffic Academy, same offer, just different names, so don't get confused. Millions of dollars in sales over the course of this program. It started at $97. I raised the price to $177, included some more training and some other cool stuff, but the promise stayed the same for several years. Simple promise. Notice the so that you can reach more people, attract more customers. Very clear, very tangible, very desirable promise, and that's why it did very well. Let me introduce you to Local Video Academy, which was born out of Video ROI and Video Traffic Academy. And I promise you this, your first offer with customers and selling it will become the breeding ground for your second. You'll just you'll notice what it is that your people want. You'll learn what they need more effectively, and you'll be able to get that next product. And what we saw is when people bought Video Traffic Academy, they're like, hey, I'm doing this. I'm getting these videos ranked. This is amazing. Do you think I could do this for local clients? And we're like, yes. And we created a product. So here's the tagline: bring the power of video to local businesses. But here was an even simpler promise: get paid to make videos for small businesses. That was the promise. I mean, very clear. So whether you're a videographer or you're an online business owner, you're an entrepreneur, and you're looking for a new way to make additional sales, revenue, cash flow, this is a service that's in high demand, creating videos for local businesses. This product went on to do, in about 2 years, millions of dollars, multi-million dollars, like 2.5 million. Crazy. And I think we only launched it like 4 times. Let's talk about my mastermind, the Inner Circle. So now we're talking about a different type of product. It's a year-long, in-person and virtual mastermind. Okay. Now there is still a promise with this, even though it's got a very different approach to how we talk about this, and it's, there's a launch process for masterminds. There's an application process. They basically, each person that joins pretty much has to, not even pretty much, very much so, has to sell themselves to me as to why they can join. So there's actually 2 promises in effect. There's this is a general promise, but you can go more general when you have something like this. But the promise I led with is to create your breakthrough year in business. And then I kind of helped to define what that means for each individual and what would a breakthrough year look like for you. But it's also, since we have revenue minimum requirements, that becomes actually part of the promise as well. This is a mastermind, a 12-month mastermind for businesses at a minimum of $500,000 or more, selling digital products, online courses, etc., who would like to have a breakthrough year in business. So that's really the promise for that. Last year, we didn't even market this publicly, and we turned down over 40 applicants and filled it out, obviously, because we turned down over 40. Let's hear from Jazzy Things. This is Jasmine Schmalhaus. Jasmine is one of our head coaches for our BBD Next Level program, but she also runs her own business, and it's called Your Dinner is Planned. It is a monthly membership that helps busy families cook healthy meals so they can spend more time with their family. Pretty simple, and it's, I forget the exact price point, but it's like $20 a month. She gives meal plans and recipes, shopping guides, all that type of stuff. That's it. Really inexpensive membership, and it's a 6-figure membership, and she pretty much just sells it using her Instagram account, which is unfreaking believable. All right, let's hear from Mr. Chris Beltran. This is Brand Camp, and this was a screenshot of Brand Camp Beta, an intimate creative online program that helps online entrepreneurs, digital marketers, create a visual brand that attracts more clients and customers and gets you to position yourself as the authority in your marketplace. Kind of another screenshot here for you to show you all the different stuff that he does. Pretty darn cool. And by the way, we'll be talking about this in the next video. I believe in the next video. Yes, we will, which is one of our most infamous processes, the beta launch, the monetize before you make it. So Chris sent a little note here saying, from the monetize before you make it module, I created a beta, did close to $4,000 with no list, no ads, and ended up working with some of those betas at one-on-one. So it turned into some one-on-one clients that moved it up to about $7,000. And then, of course, at this point, he said, I'm moving up to do my official launch. So cool. Here's Daniela Warner, who created a program called Spa Retailer Rockstar. Very simple promise. If you're a retailer, in the spa, health, wellness, spa, brick and mortar, how to increase your retail sales in 30 days. She did over 12,000 with one of her first launches, and I know since then she's, and you can search her name, she's shares her updates and wins in the group, gone on to do amazing things. Just another example of a great offer. Here's Andrea Maxim with Maximize Your Clinic, how to start, grow, or build your practice in 3 months. She did over $40,000 in course sales with one of her first or second launches, but definitely in her first year of releasing this online product. Then we have Dory Howell. She's a member of my Inner Circle Mastermind, And she has a membership for photographers on how to grow their business, how to raise their prices, how to position themselves as a premium photographer and attract more clients, how to get booked solid. And here's Emily Aarons, good friend of mine. She's been on the podcast, and she's a member of the Inner Circle. And here's her membership, Mastery and Ascension. And it basically helps anyone in business how to tap in to use your intuition and spiritual tools in your business to remove blocks, limitations, move the energy so you can live a more spiritually aligned business and life. She does very well with this membership. All right, so those are just a few examples of some great offers. And, you know, at the end of the day, they're very simple. And I always like to use this accordion analogy where you can start with expanding that accordion and make it really long so you have your whole offer sheet and you put out all the pieces. And then, like, if you have 10 seconds to share what it is that you do or what your offer is, you can. And I tried to explain each of those within just like 1 or 2 sentences. Hopefully, those are some great examples that are really helpful and beneficial to you and will give you what you need to start getting some of those creative juices flowing, some new ideas, some new possibilities. All right? I got another video coming your way, so I'll see you in that next one. Take care. All right, welcome back. James Wedmore here. This is module number 1, creating your outline, here in the Course in a Weekend training module, bonus inside Business by Design. I've got my awesome betas here on the call with me. What's up, you guys? Thank you for being here. Listen, this module is very specific and very intentional. You don't want to end this video and move on to the next one until you have a complete and clear, specific outline for what it is that you're creating. So the first thing I want to do is realize that something will happen, and it just happened to me. And it's that as you get to work on teaching and creating your course, you're going to get inspired. New ideas are going to show up. New things are going to pop up into your sphere. And that's where you're going to want to make sure you add that. But you want to understand that when you're creating your outline, it's okay if all that isn't coming in now. So what I'm saying is if you can get the basics, if you can get the foundation, just the framing up, then as you get to work, you're going to be like, oh, I forgot to add this. Oh, right? So stop trying to make it perfect in an outline. You're just trying to get the basics. Now, I just added this image to the slide deck. This is my office, and this is a giant 4-poster board visualization of the outline for Business by Design, which we've spent a lot of time on. And I wanted to include it because, I mean, this is something I look at daily. We even set it up in a way that we're rearranging it, right? But a lot of this didn't come together until I started, getting to work on it. And then you start working on one module and you're like, oh gosh, I got to add this over here. And oh, I should go back and add that there. So this is a living, breathing thing. It's going to take on a life of its own. So you want to kind of get out of your head about it trying to be perfect and be okay if you're, kind of stuck in a writer's block, and understand that when you do create an outline, you can bring it to the group and ask them for their feedback, okay? Because that's part of what the community is. It's there to help you with. So you can kind of see here on this image that I've created 10 modules for Business by Design. I mean, if you're in the program, you'll see that there are 10 modules. And I created a 3x5 card for every video. So you'll see that there's between 6 to 8 videos for every module. And we'll go into all the details of that. But every module, as you'll learn in this video, is a milestone. It's like a chapter in a book. And then there are the lessons within each chapter, and those are individual videos. And that's how I structure my courses. You get to do it any way you want, of course. That's the most important thing I want to share with you, is that remember to step into the role as teacher and creator and say, hey, I get to do this any way I want to, right? I get to do it the way I want to do it. Not the way James tells me to do it, but the way I want to do it. And that's really what I want to encourage here. Okay, so again, by the end of this call, you're going to have an outline. If you don't have an outline, then you get the outline done before we continue, right? You don't want to watch the second video until you got the outline. Now, for our members that are hanging out with us live, you may not have the most completed outline, and we're going to have to continue, but I will give some time here for our live members to get their outline done, and then we'll probably review it really quickly. So we're going to create a distinction between modules and lessons. I'm going to help you, because this is a big question that comes up. What do I include? What do I not include? And I think that answer will really come as we continue to remember, well, what was the promise? What is the promise? But ultimately, we'll have a finished outline. So that's really the agenda. I want to get into it. Are you ready? Step number one is asking a very important question. The question is, where is your ideal customer right now when they join? Okay, and I will explain this more. But you want to start to see if someone were to purchase your program right now as a finished product, where are they at? Is there something you could use to describe where they're at right now? Is there something you could describe who they are? Is this something that could be measured? Is this something that could have a word or description around it? You know, for example, if we're talking weight loss, can we talk about how overweight are they? Or how much, you know, what weight are they at right now? Or how do they look right now? And the more specific we can get, the better. Okay, so you want to take a moment here. I'm going to give you the time to answer that question. And I'll give you examples of my own in just a second. But this is really about understanding that this is where they are, and this is a problem for them. That's why they bought your course, because they want to get to the solution. So what does life look like for them right now? What is the starting point? Okay, and if you could share with our live members, if you could share so we could give a couple examples, that would be fantastic. Anything that really describes where they're at now would be awesome. And then the obvious second step, or the second question, is where will they be by the end of your program? Now, play with me for a second here. Because again, this is not, I don't want you to go realistic and lowest worst case scenario here. This isn't No Child Left Behind. This is, if I had my most ideal superstar student, the best student that I ever had, do exactly what I tell them to do, and they did it all perfectly, where would they be at the end of this? Okay? And you want to write that down. And if you want to share that, put that in the group. But I need you to create some sort of distinction when you submit it in the group, like, you know, write number 1 or number 2 before it, so I know where they were and where they are at the end. Where are they? What's their starting point and what's their ending point? So one of my classic examples that I like to teach. This is why you guys are writing this down. I'll just chat for a bit. One of my classic examples is for Video Traffic Academy. You know, this is like my first flagship YouTube training program. Came out in 2011. We sold millions of dollars in sales on a $97 product. And the starting point was someone who has either never used video or they tried a couple videos and gave up. That's where I start them at. And then where they end up at the end of the course is they have one video ranked at the top of YouTube and Google for their keywords. Very specific ending point. Very specific. So what is as specific beginning as possible? And I know you can't, you kind of want to generalize. It's very natural for you to want to generalize, but pick one person. If you have past customers or someone who comes to mind, think of them. Where were they when they started? So I can talk about one of my clients, Hillary Rushford, right? When she came to me, she was successful in her own right. She was generating revenue. I won't share specific numbers, but she was working like 12-hour days. She was burnt out, and she was totally confused as to why. She was saying things like, do I have to sacrifice my life and my health just to make this money? Is that what it's really going to take? And that was where she was at when we started. And, we 5x'd her revenue in 9 months. So the end was we took her, from 6 to over 7 figures in business. So that would be the starting point and the ending point. It's really, really important that you identify what is the start and what is the end. All right? So let's see if anyone in the group has anything to share here. I'll bring up our question box. Okay. Okay, great. So yes, Erica, starting point, frustrated with so many stressed and anxious students. Yes, they feel like they don't know what to do to help them manage their emotions and it impacting their academics. Beautiful. Ending point, you'll be able to teach them methods to manage stress and release to their own stress and anxiety. Now watch this. So that. See if you can write anything else to that for yourself, Erica. So I'm going to read your ending point one more time, and we're just going to see if we can go deeper with this, right? So by the end of the program, the teachers will be able to teach their students methods that effectively manage and release their own stress and anxiety so that what? And if you want to share it here, that's awesome. But it should be something like so that the teacher can feel, empowered to, effectively transform their students. Something like that. It's got to come back to the teacher. What is ultimately going to be available for the teacher when they can do that? How is their life going to be like then? Yeah, so they can improve their grades. Beautiful. And if you can get more specific with that, you're awesome. I know that's hard to do. Like, well, I can't promise 2-letter grades, but that's really good. Okay, I love that. Well done. Okay, and Erica, I want to acknowledge you because I worked with you for a little bit on this, and you stayed really, really coachable. I got to beat up on you a little bit, so thank you. But I just feel like you were so close to something, and I feel like here on this call, you really nailed it down. That's the difference between a good offer and a great offer. So Erica knows in her head, I want to teach EFT to teachers so they can teach their students. And it's just like, great. So I know what you want to do. But we need to talk to those teachers in such a way that this just jars them out of whatever else they're doing, and they pay full attention to Erica and say, oh my gosh, this is a real problem, and I need to address this now, and Erica's my gal. That's the goal, right? Okay, let's do one or two more. So Jack, nice to see you on here. Jack, we're looking at step number 1 first. Says, here's where they're at when they start. And by the way, Jack teaches guitar to people. So this is very important because you can teach guitar to someone who's never held a guitar before. You can teach guitar to someone who's been playing for years and they just want to learn a specific style. So this is extremely important for Jack, okay? They are at the tip of almost becoming an intermediate guitar level. They've been playing for about a year and they can't seem to get to the next stage. They're stuck in a rut. Okay, great. I would see if there's any more clarification you can do on what you mean when you say get to the next stage. That's really hard, I know, but you can get more specific. What does stuck in a rut look like for them? So for me, I feel like this describes me, so I'll kind of give you some feedback. You kind of get stuck and frustrated trying to learn new songs. And you just kind of go back and you've stopped learning and you just keep playing the same 10 songs you've learned over and over again, and you've gotten really good at those, but you feel like the songs you really want to learn and the songs you really want to play are just like taking too much out of your time, and you just can't seem to get them right, and you get impatient and you stop practicing, and then you just want to give up altogether. Okay? So see how I got a little bit more specific by saying things like, I just keep playing the same 10 songs over and over again. Now, you can see that as an image, can't you? You can see me playing the same songs and just be like, oh, whatever, I know this one. I'll just play this for a little bit. I don't want to learn that new song, right? Okay, but by the end of your program, they will be at an intermediate level in guitar playing, and they'll be able to play their favorite songs with ease. Good. Again, see if you can get more specific. I think it's going to help you to get more specific with each of these. But it's good. It's really good. Okay. Like being able to play their favorite songs is with ease is specific, but you can get more specific. Like, what type of songs? What type of songs are their favorite songs, and how many of them, and how quickly is it going to take them, and what else? Okay, this stuff's really important, I promise you guys. Okay, good. So you guys are nailing that. I want to move on. I hope that's okay. So why would we do this? Why would we take the time to craft this offer and then craft where's the starting point, where's the ending point? Well, here's the simple answer. When you know where they are when they join, creating a course becomes really simple because your job is just to get them to the ending point. And this space in between is what we call the gap. And your course simply fills in the gap so that there is a step every single space from where they are to where they want to be. Step by step by step by step by step by step. Okay? And that's ultimately what we're doing when we create an outline. And so I want to help you guys be able to do this. I want to show you an example of this, and then we're just going to get to work to creating an outline. I'll give you the time, the space to do it, the feedback, everything. But the outline's the most important thing. It'll all start coming together after that. Okay? So here's an example of how I've done this. We created a program called FB Video Ads. Some members here on the call have it. And really, we had 2 starting points. And that's okay. You can have 2 starting points. And here's my 2 starting points, because we did surveys and we realized about 60% of my audience had never used Facebook ads before. And then we realized, 40% of them, the other 40%, had done Facebook ads unsuccessfully. So with that in mind, I still said I have to start you at the beginning. So ultimately, I created a course that says I'm going to start you from scratch on how to do Facebook ads, whether it's your first time or you've already created a few. Okay, so I'll show you the course, I'll show you the modules, and I'll show you the lessons within the modules. But the goal of the course is to have a profitable Facebook ad up and live that's sending traffic to their funnel for less than $3 a lead. That's ultimately the goal I have for them. Okay, so we got to do that, right? So now that I know, okay, I'm taking someone who's never created a Facebook ad before, and by the end of the course, they're going to have one that's up live and it's working, and it's getting them leads for less than $3 a pop, then we're very clear. Now let's just go to the steps, okay? So this is the members area of Kajabi. We'll go into Kajabi. We're huge fans of Kajabi over here. We love it. And this is a course created inside Kajabi for Facebook video ads. Now this is the main members dashboard area, and you'll see it's made up of 8 modules. Well, it's technically 6, but what we put here, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is a welcome aboard video and bonuses. So we will go over all this stuff. Let me start with quickly talking about a welcome video. We'll probably go deeper into this because I think it's very important, but if you're creating your outline right now, you can say, you can have a welcome section. So that's the first thing you can put on your outline. And the welcome section is going to include some very important things. Right now, the first thing that you need to understand about a welcome video is this is to indoctrinate your audience. This is to reaffirm they've made the right decision. So I want you to write that down. Welcome video or welcome experience is to reaffirm they made the right decision. So you really want to start with the question of what do I need to say and do in a 5 to 10 minute video that reaffirms they made the right decision. So reinstating the promise of the course, thanking them, just saying you've made the right decision, believe it or not, that helps, right? Getting them excited. Here's what you're going to learn. Here's all this stuff I have for you is great. But one of the most valuable things that you can do is give them 2 action items. The first action item is to get them to do something like say, like leave a comment, introduce yourself. So we have one in the Facebook video ads. We have one in Business by Design that says like, hey, just let me know you're all in. So what do I have here? In this first video, I have 100 comments. Okay. These are all people saying, I'm all in. They share their goal. They say, I'm all in. Notice how they all say it, right? This is getting people to reinforce the commitment that they made. It gets people excited. It gets people sharing. It gets people creating a community. Why are we not doing this, right? People buy the course for the content, but they'll stay for the community. Okay, then the second thing is you want to see if there's a way that you can provide a quick win for people. Like, what is an action item that they could do right now? Very important. What is an action item that they could do right now? So one of the things I did is I said, I'm going to give you a cheat sheet to a step-by-step Facebook ad so you could actually start working on one right now. And so that was like a quick extra bonus I gave them. So that's your welcome video. Now, if you look at mine, it's just me talking to the camera real quick. And you guys can go, let me, I'll mute it just so you can just see visually what it is, right? So it's just me in front of the camera. I thank everybody, I welcome them, I reinstate the promise, and then I tell them, here's what to do now. It can be as simple as that. Okay, so that's your welcome video. All right, let's get back into this. So I have 6 modules designed to get them from where they are to where they want to be, right? And so the first thing I did, and this is usually what I like to do in my trainings, is create a big picture overview. So sometimes I call this the game plan, the big picture, your strategy, whatever. And this is really where I'm mapping out what they need to be doing. And for a lot of you, that's going to be really important. So with, I believe it was Christelle, with the doing a retreat, the first module should be like the map of this whole process. Like, so what does this whole journey look like on a piece of paper, right? What does the whole thing look like? Okay, so when we open up module 1, it's a series of 7 videos, and it's really laying a foundation. So what are the things that these people need to know and understand first before we really dive in? Okay, so don't worry, we're going to keep going through this in layers and layers and layers. So I'm just giving you more examples so you can start to get inspired. So if you're watching along with us right now and you have an idea for something to include in your course, just start writing it down now. That's the whole point of this experience, is for us to start writing like, oh, I should definitely do this and I should definitely add that. Okay, so the first thing I do is I show the big picture game plan in 6 steps. And it's also not too much of a coincidence that it's 6 modules. So that's really what you could be kind of doing here. It's like, okay, here's the big picture. And then what I'm doing here is getting them to understand the fundamentals of Facebook advertising. So I tell them things, the who, what, and the where is like, who do you target? What does your ad look like? And where do you target people? And then I talk about things like, what is a campaign? What is an ad set? What is an ad? And then I give a video on how I use Facebook ads. I have a video on the best practices, like what to avoid and what to do. And then I included training on how to do a little customer avatar work. And then I added another video on just telling them what Facebook Business Manager is. These are kind of like, here's the stuff we need to get out of the way first. Okay, so that's module 1. And then we get into module 2, where I said, well, before we build an ad, we have to build all this other stuff first. So module 2 is called Build Everything. I take them through how to build a landing page. This is where they're going to send their traffic. I take them through how to build a thank you page after someone opts in from the landing page. And then I show them how to create a conversion pixel and add the pixel to the thank you page. See how this is all building off of each other? And then I show them how to create their video ad. I also included a video on how to create an image ad. And then I created a video on how to write the copy. We have not created the ad yet, but we've created all the things that we're going to need before we create the ad, step by step in a chronological basis, okay? And then module 3, we just get to work on creating the ad. So this is the actual work. So it's not even until module 3 that they're really doing what they've come here for, okay? So module 3.1, I simply say, here's what we're going to do. And then module 3.2, I literally walk them through setting up an entire ad step by step by step. And then I do it again. And then I added up another bonus little training video about how to create a thumbnail for a video, just in case. You know, I could have put this in the previous module. So I did the same thing twice, creating your video ad and creating another video ad. I wanted to give them 2 examples so that they really match, because this, you know, that's what they're really coming here for. Now, Then I started saying, okay, well, they've come here to get an ad set up. We got their ad set up, but then what? And I said, well, the next thing we need to do is we really need to show them how to optimize and scale their ads. Like, what do they do once they start getting results? So this entire module is about how to read the data from their ads so they can start to scale the ad. So I have one called Best Practices. Then I have another one on how to scale. And then I have a video that I created called Indicators of a Failed Ad. It's what to look for if your ad isn't working. Because two things is going to happen at this point. It's either going to work or it's not. And I want to help them with both scenarios. And then in Module 5, I just show them what's called advanced targeting strategies. I show them all kinds of different ways they could have additional target groups, different people they could target in their Facebook ads. And then Module 6 is a separate strategy that I use called video view retargeting, which is really cool. And I just wanted to add that in. Okay, so that's the course. Right? I just walk them through step by step how to create an ad. And then we have the bonuses. Now, we'll talk more about the bonuses. What you got to understand about bonuses is the bonuses are what's really selling the course. So you've created this promise for someone. Like, I'm going to show you how to create 6-figure retreats in your business out of the comfort of your living room. Okay, now that's an awesome promise. The bonus, write this down, bonus answers the objection. So when you tell someone that you're going to create a retreat for them out of the comfort of their home, can someone here on this call tell me what might be an objection? If I came to you guys and I said, listen, we're going to show you how to create 6-figure retreats out of the comfort of your home, what are the first things that come up as a yeah, but? That sounds great, but what are things that are objections for you? Let me see what you guys have. Yeah, Erica says, I don't want to work at home, or I don't want people in my home. How about that one? I don't want strangers in my home, or I don't like how my home looks. I don't want people in there. What else? Yeah, Shay said that too. I don't want strangers in my house. Julia said cleaning up. Yep. I won't get the same feel at a live event. Interruptions. Yeah. It won't be relaxing. Christelle says, so whose was this? Christelle, was this yours? Wasn't this yours? Let's see. Oh, it was Elena's. Crap. I'm sorry, Elena. Sorry. Oh, this is a virtual retreat. Okay, I understand. Well, let's just pretend for this example that it was a real in-person retreat, right? Like how to do it. Notice though that the first objection someone would have is I don't want people in my home. So my bonus would be how to find and set up a retreat in a third-party venue, near your home. Okay, and it would include everything on how to secure a deal, how to prepare the venue, what to expect, what to look for, process maps, everything. Ooh, that's a nice bonus. Okay, so let's use Elena's for a virtual retreat. So Elena, can I see if I can find your original? Okay, so Elena says, I'm solving the problem of coaches who want to offer retreat but don't want to deal with travel. So I understand. Okay, so you're selling a virtual retreat. Okay, great. So if I tell you guys, hey, I'm going to show you how you can sell a virtual retreat, what are the things that come up for you that are like, yeah, but what? What would be your objection? I'd like to see those now, and I'll show you how we can address those. Technology, good. Shay said, if it's a virtual retreat, I don't know if you get the same connection that you do as it is when you are live in person. Beautiful. This is great, you guys. Keep them coming. I want to meet people. Would it feel as good? Yes. Okay, so Elena, these are huge for you. I want to meet people. There's technology. And would I get the same connection and feel as if it was in person? So here's what you do. You create a bonus called something like, instant connection. And it's how to create the same type of community and engagement that you would from a live event through online technology. You're just letting them know that you've created training to address that objection. And then Elena said technology. People are going to be like, oh my gosh, is this going to what if I don't have strong enough internet? What if I don't have the right size computer and all that type of stuff? So you create a, virtual, technology for dummies, training guide. And it's everything you need, tutorials and step-by-step training, so that even someone who barely knows how to log into check their email can execute this retreat with ease. Okay, solving that problem becomes a bonus. Okay. Mariah says, I think of a retreat as relaxing and I want to escape my everyday life. I fear that I wouldn't get that at a virtual retreat. Yes, but remember that this is her selling people to create their own retreat. That's going to be the objection when you sell a retreat and your audience goes, would it get the same experience? Okay, but here's the point we're making, which is powerful, is that your bonuses are addressing the objections and creating more desire. That's it. Like, if that wasn't enough, we're including this. So let's take a look at some of the bonuses that you get for Facebook video ads. Now, I'm not here to sell the program. I hope you guys get that. I'm here to use it as an example. So I want you to see if you notice something. Like, there are more bonuses than there are modules. Huh. Right? My course itself solves the problem. It delivers on the promise. Now I'm just going to go overboard here. Right? This training we're creating right now, Course in a Weekend, is a bonus. It's not just a lesson inside the modules. It's a bonus because the people that are on the fence about buying Business by Design are probably sitting there saying, this is great, but I just don't have anything to sell yet. I need to finish my course first. See, those are objections. And I just say, no, I'm going to show you how to create a course in a weekend. Give me 2 days. You guys get this? So look at all these bonuses. First of all, people love retargeting. I didn't want to include it as part of the course because it's so powerful by itself. It could be its own course. And I just created a couple videos on it. I said, let's pull it out as a bonus. Then swipe files. This solves the problem of, I don't want to do all that work. I got to learn it, then I got to do the work. No. We've done the work. We wrote the scripts. We wrote the copy. We did everything. You just copy and paste. Switch out the words. Boom. Okay? This is a case study of how I use Facebook ads in a 6-figure launch. Well, people are going to want that because they're probably going, well, can I use this in my launch? Well, here's a case study. See how this works, guys? Oh, this is great, but video's too expensive. Oh, here's my video buyer's guide, how to get everything you need for under $100. This is great, but I don't have time to make videos. I don't know how to make videos. Am I going to have to learn ads and then learn how to make videos? Oh, here's my complete video outsourcing mini course. You can have someone make the videos for you for $3 an hour. Here's another bonus, Instagram video ads. Here's the exact, this was our big bonus. Here is the complete funnel breakdown that we did. And I just show them how I created a funnel. 14-step process map. And these are just extra little things that we added recently, like a process guide for uploading a video. And then this is just a replay from my RMI group. So a lot of bonuses here. And notice how as I start sharing these, it already drives more desire for the program. So you're sitting here seeing, okay, the course provides this one solution to this promise that you're making. And it does it in these 6 steps, right? Here are the 6 steps. And you're like, oh, okay, great. So it's going to take, okay, God. Now the bonuses it's like literally putting like 6 more courses in your course. Everything stands alone, but this is very important. It creates desire, it addresses objections, but it really shouldn't be something, I mean, it can be, but it shouldn't really be something that takes away from the course itself. And what I mean is, I wouldn't take anything here out and make it a bonus. Like, this is what makes the course complete, right? So I wouldn't say as a bonus, plus I'll show you how to create your first Facebook ad. Well, no, that's the course. The bonuses is like, okay, what else do you really want? What else do you need? We're showing you how to make a Facebook ad, but I'll show you what equipment to get. I'll show you how you can get others to make your video ads for you. I'll show you how you use retargeting and Instagram ads. You guys get that? And every time I share one of these, it's like I'm selling 5 other courses. So the bonuses is really where The bonus is where you put your marketing hat on, because that's what's going to sell the course. Okay. And so we can talk about bonuses deeper, but most importantly, we want to get you an outline out. So you might be writing your outline, and then I might challenge you and be like, boy, that's so cool. Maybe you should make that a bonus. Maybe you should pull that out. You know, I'll show you. Let me bring up another one here. I'll show you guys Business by Design. I mean, you can just check it out yourself. But let's see. Let me pause. I'm going to bring up Business by Design, and you guys will see. Here we go. Okay. So here's the course, which a lot of modules, 10 modules, but the course bonuses, there's just as many bonuses. You know, that's not accidental. The community, the live coaching, swipe files, launch maps, case studies, course on a weekend, impact formula, absolute automation, the replays from the coaching calls, training on how to monetize a product before you even make it. And, these are our member-only offers where you can get discounts to things like Samcart and Kajabi. Okay, so let's see if there's any questions so far on what I've gone over. If you haven't asked a question, please go ahead and type it in now. I'm just giving you examples, and then we can start jumping into your outline in just a minute if you haven't begun. But I just want to see if there's any examples, not necessarily about Facebook video ads, but about creating a course and the outline that you might have thus far. Okay, I'm not going to answer any questions about the Facebook course. Let me open up the questions. Yeah, Jack says, I didn't know how important bonuses were. Wow, yeah, they really are. Christelle says, my clients tend to get overwhelmed by too much information, so I'm concerned about giving too much. The main focus on my course is to simplify, streamline, and get clients to take action. How can I over-deliver but not confuse and overwhelm clients? This is a great question. Okay, Christelle, this is beautiful, but you need to switch your thinking a little bit, okay? Because giving people more does not overwhelm people. And let me explain. When you understand that this is actually the problem and objection, your bonuses solve this problem. So the question you ask, Christelle, is, what bonuses can I provide to immediately eliminate overwhelm from my customer? So I'm curious, because I've got a million ideas that come up when I ask that question. What comes up for you? If you could share a few things, what bonuses could you provide that would eliminate and solve this problem of overwhelm? That's the bonus that you create. Okay, is it a timeline of what they need to do? Is it like a 90-day timeline of what they need to do over the next 90 days? Like a calendar? Is it resources, swipe files, templates? The work has been done for them. People don't get overwhelmed. Listen, if I'm selling a Facebook ad course and I say, here's the exact 60-second script template to use for your video. Here is the 3-paragraph swipe copy to use for your Facebook ad. And here is my graphics of exactly what graphics you can use. You just swipe out your name and your logo, your headline and your logo. I haven't overwhelmed you. I've just made your life 10 times easier. See how that works? Yes, doing something to help them schedule and prioritize. So could you give them some sort of master cheat sheet, checklist, calendar, done for you templates, swipe files, resource guides, buyer's guides, whatever they need so it's already done. They won't be overwhelmed anymore. Elena says, do you share all the bonuses when you're selling? You mean, what do you mean? Do you mean, do I like talk about all the bonuses when I'm selling? Is that what you mean? Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do. Sometimes we like to do little surprise bonuses. Like there are some surprise bonuses in Business by Design, and we let you know this is a surprise bonus. We don't just say another bonus. Like we make a big deal about it. But yeah, we do. Every bonus should be intentional. If the bonus doesn't help to sell the program, what's the point? Okay. All right. So good questions. Let's get back into this. Hopefully, if you want to just take a moment and just for 2 seconds, 30 seconds, start writing down what are some ideas for content and or bonuses that have already come up for you. You want to get to work. Okay. So I'll give you a moment to just start writing. And don't feel like you're on the spot or you have to come up with something, but are there any things that at least start with, well, what does need to be included? What do I need to have in here? You need a welcome video, so you can always start there. And we'll go into everyone's outline and start looking at it. Start looking at some of those in a little bit. So we'll start with modules. Okay. The modules are the milestones. So if we know where they are and where we need to be, we kind of need to start addressing the milestones. Another way to look at this is if you're writing a book, each module is a chapter. Now in Kajabi, these are called categories, and we'll show you in one of the upcoming videos how to create the categories. So you saw my milestones, you saw my modules. We wanted to do a getting started, like here's the pre-work. Here's the understanding of the strategy. That was the first milestone, is understand the concept. The second milestone was getting all the work done, like setting up a landing page. And then the third milestone was creating your first ad. Fourth milestone was checking the stats of your ad. Fifth milestone was increasing the budgets and scaling. Okay, those are just milestones. And then every video, the lesson, which is the next one, is just every step that you need to accomplish to get to the next milestone. So that's one way to look at that. If you know where they are and where they want to be, what are the milestones? So I'm going to give you guys a second here to start writing down even just the milestones. And I will, in full disclosure, say I've written the outline for Business by Design 7 times. It just kept changing and becoming something different. That's okay. I think you just have to get to a point where you accept that this is where it is right now, and it can always become something more. It can always evolve. It will evolve. But you won't really know what it needs to be until you have people going through the program. And as long as you stay in the commitment of serving your students and customers, there's nothing wrong with saying, oh yeah, I need to add that. Hey guys, give me a week. I'm going to add some training on that. Someone gives you feedback. Man, you really skipped over this really fast. I didn't really get this. Oh, thank you for the feedback. I'm going to go in and add some more training there. This doesn't have to be perfect. So take a moment, write down some of the milestones. Doesn't have to be all of them, just any of them. And so if I were to do this, with you, I'd go 1. I'd say like my big picture strategy. Then I'd start the next module. And I'd say, well, next I want to learn, I want to teach I got to figure out my product here. So let's say this is how to sell a virtual event. So big picture strategy is going to be like seeing the whole game plan. So we'll say your 6-figure game plan. Okay. So this is for a course on virtual events. Okay. So my next milestone would be like mapping out the offer. And I would kind of start to plan, well, what is the virtual event going to include? How much am I going to sell it for? What's the promise? That's kind of what I would do there. Okay, great. And then I'd probably do something like the technology. like how to set up a virtual event and stuff like that, you know? And then we'd be launching the virtual event, right? Like the launch, and then hosting it. And then I might do what's next. This is ways I could like repurpose it. What do you do afterwards? What are other opportunities? So that might be one way that I would create a 6-module course. Notice how it's kind of like milestones. They come here, they've never done an event before. They want to make more money. So first we got to give them a plan. We're going to create your event in 90 days. You know, you're already starting to come up with ideas. Oh, I know what I can include in here. Right? And then, excuse me. Okay, well, let's talk about what it is you're really selling when you sell a virtual event. Okay, now I'm going to just show you what you need technology-wise, the hardware, the software, the tools, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to show you how to launch and sell it. And then I'm going to show you how to host it. And then we can talk about what to do after it's done. Boom, there's your course. So Elena, does your outline look like anything like mine, or is it like totally different? It doesn't mean it needs to look like mine, but okay, so she says yes, totally. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So we'll go, I didn't have launching. Okay, yeah, you got to have a way on, there's got to be really a section on like, how do you sell this thing? That's what they want, right? Because to do a virtual event, you got to have a real specific way. Here's how you sell this thing. Here are the steps to selling this. That's, to me, that's really the meat of this course. Okay. All right. So if you could do that, I mean, I've sold virtual events, but I've never sold a product on how to do virtual events. Right? You know, this is kind of that because this is a virtual event. That's kind of weird, right? But notice how fast I created that. So let's do one more. If someone wants to give me what is their course, what is their product, what's their promise, anything, throw that in the chat box, and I'll see if I can come up with something really quick. I swear, like the only way I can really teach this is just by continually giving examples to people, right? So if you could share, that would be phenomenal. Okay, so Tina, awesome. Okay, so teaching a group coaching program to photographers on how to book more clients and selling. Beautiful. Okay, so let's open up a new window here. Okay, so teaching photographers how to book more clients. Okay, so I'd start with a game plan module, right? You know, this is going to be the big picture. You're going to talk about goal setting. You're going to talk about mindset. You're going to talk about all the things that you feel like need to get out of the way before we get into the work. You know, stuff like that. Now, I think the next module I'd go after is choosing your niche. Like really talking to them about how you can't be the photographer to everybody, but you can be the best at one thing. Are you going to be best at wedding or, you know, portraits or something like that, right? And that's what I would do. And then the next would be more around crafting your offer or your pricing, offer, or packages. You know, like what are you selling? What's included? How much, right? And then what you might want to do is say like, you know, how to sell it would kind of be like a module. Like, okay, well, so if someone gets on the phone, you know, whatever it is, like how are you going to communicate this offer to them, right? And then we might want to start getting into specific marketing strategies. Now, this is where I'm going to get really bad at this because I'm not a photographer, and I could sit there for a moment and think, okay, well, how would I do this? But Tina might have a very specific way. But what's got to be included in here is like, okay, what are the strategies you're going to use? Right? Maybe there's something, and this could be a bonus too, like, you know, 21 essential elements your website needs. You know, that could be a cool bonus, right? But I need to know, okay, so how am I marketing my services? How am I getting my stuff out there so people are either calling me or whatever, and then once they call me or book an appointment with me or something, how am I actually presenting and selling this? This is like crafting your sales pitch here, right? So that's kind of an idea of what I would go through. Can I get some feedback from you, Tina, on like, what did you include? What didn't I include? All that kind of stuff.
So we could really take this to a whole nother level. Let's see. Oh, Mariah, can we do yours next? That'd be awesome. Now, Jax is going to be kind of challenging because I feel like as a music teacher, you know, you could go so many different ways. You know, it's not necessarily step by step. It's more just like practice and repetition. It's like, well, we got to learn the fundamentals. There's some technique we've got to learn, and you know, you could go any direction with that, which is really cool. Okay, so Tina, anything else that's that you feel like this needs? Does this help? Does this feel like what you had? Was I way off? Again, this isn't about saying, oh, James knows what's best for your customer. That's not it at all. I'm just kind of demonstrating how easy it can be to just create milestones. Okay, she's typing. Sorry, she's got a lot to share. And if you really feel like you have something that could be its own thing, it could totally be a bonus. You know, I like, everything your website needs. Now she could also create like another bonus, could be like, you know, social media, because social media is huge for photographers, like social media secrets for photographers. You know, that's going to be something they really want. Okay, but if she has a very specific strategy, that's something we want to include here. So any questions so far? And Tina, you let me know. Here it is. Okay. So sell before you speak, have a conversation that connects, and how to follow up and follow through. Great. So an entire module on follow up. And then, yeah, you want to do something on follow through. Like, love it. So follow up and follow through is great, because what you could do in this module is you're really talking to them about how to turn a one-time customer into a lifetime customer who gives you referrals. That's huge. How to give them a great experience. Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well done. I want to talk to Mariah here because I'm really excited about her course. I think she's going to hit a home run with this, to be honest with you. So Mariah, where is yours? How to create a free challenge and Facebook group to grow your list by 2,000 people in 30 days. Great. Love it. Okay. So Facebook group challenge list building. Okay. So who here would be excited to learn how you could create your own Facebook group to build a community that builds your list and helps you to sell your course? I would just like, if you could just put a Y or a 1 in there, just let me know. So you've already got a bunch of people saying, yes, me, totally. Yes, some Ys and some 1s. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because I know Mariah is probably speaking to some of you guys would be her ideal customer. So the first thing we do is module 1 is going to be the big picture game plan. You know, give them the map. Here's where this all connects. I want to see in here, how does this connect to sales, all that type of stuff, right? So then module 2 could be setting up your group. So this is all the settings they need, how to set up the group, get an image made, descriptions, all that type of stuff, right? And then we could do something here like setting the rules and intentions of the group. Okay, I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around with this here. And then we do promoting the group, getting members. Okay. And then we do something like, you know, how to craft your group challenge. And then you could do something like challenge to sales, challenge to customers. Okay. And then, of course, you could add anything else, right? So, like, where are you going to start talking about list building here, right? Like, you could put in something like, all right, we're going to, you know, maybe this is group to subscribers or list building. You know, something like that. So these are just all the topics that you're going to go through. So Mariah, let me know. Oh, Julia's got some great objections. What if I have a few likes? What if I don't have a business page or a small page? Or what if I'm brand new? Yeah, this is where her bonuses come in. How to do this even if you're just getting started. It's great. Mariah, looking at this, what do you have? What do you feel is missing? What do you feel like? What are your comments and feedback? So hopefully this is starting to get pretty clear that we can do this for everybody. Jack in the guitar course, it could be like, okay, step number one, module number one is the basics and the fundamentals. He could do this. That's a beautiful thing with something like music, that you could do this any way you want. Each module could be a different technique. Each module could be a specific song and breaking down the elements of that song. There's so many ways that he can do this. So Jack, if you have any questions, because I know you have a really specific course, a very unique course. While most people are teaching like something that's very step-by-step, music doesn't have to be step-by-step. It could be, you can learn music many different ways, I would assume, whether it's exercises, songs, teaching different techniques, like what to do with your fingers and exercises with your fingers, when you're not playing, all that good stuff. So Mariah said the milestones are pretty similar to what I listed. I have lots of ideas for bonuses. Beautiful. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so that should be pretty clear. I hope you kind of know what's coming next, right? Once you've understood your milestones, it's time to fill in the lessons, right? And so the best, let me just kind of give you some of the best practices here. You really want to keep your modules to 4 to 8 modules. Now, we went 10 with Business by Design. Technically, it's 11 because there's a module 0. I don't think you need that many. I think 4 to 8, Christelle was talking about, like, she doesn't want to overwhelm her people. Like, 12 modules is going to really overwhelm somebody. This is really important. Spending more time with someone and giving them more content does not mean more value, right? We go back to what Christelle said. She says, they're overwhelmed. I don't want to give them too much. Yeah, you don't want to give them too much. You want to make their result from where they are to where they want to be as quick and easy as possible. Just give them what they need as much as they can. You can always make bonuses that are saying, hey, if you're not at this level yet, here's a bonus for you, but you don't need this unless you're just starting out. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Just give them the straight line. Get rid of the fluff. All right? Great analogy is the story of the dentist who pulls out a guy's tooth for him in 2 minutes. The guy comes in with a pain in his tooth, and he says, I got to pull your tooth. Pulls it in less than 2 minutes. He goes, that'll be $600. It's $600. I don't get it. That took you 2 minutes. That's like thousands an hour. And the dentist just laughs at him and says, if you want, I could take longer. Why would you want pulling a tooth to take longer than 2 minutes? Why would you want to stay at the dentist any longer than you need to be? Problem was solved in 2 minutes. Why does it need to take an hour? So shorter or longer is not better. Longer does not mean more value. Okay, so write that down. Longer, and then you write the equals with the cross out, better. Longer does not equal better. 4 to 8 modules is great. Also, here's a study that someone told me about, and I don't know how true it is, but I loved it. There's a great rule of thumb of keeping your training videos to about 12 minutes. Obviously, we are breaking that rule, being here for a long time, but this is more of an experience where we get to create a course in real time. So if you have 4 to 8 modules and you could put 4 to 8 videos in each module and they're each 12 minutes, people are going to be able to get through one idea and stay engaged and then feel accomplished. So if your first module is like a 30-minute video, the first lesson of the first module is like 30 minutes, they're going to be like, oh gosh, I can't even finish this right now. And they're going to give up. But if you can give them what they need in like 5 to 10 to 12 minutes max, they'll be like, ooh, I'm already making my way through this. This feels good. So I'd rather you have more lessons in bite-sized chunks, okay? Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Let me know. And remember, we'll get into the hows of making the videos, but always remember moving forward that the message, the teaching, the content is always more valuable than the quality. You can always come back later and improve the quality of your videos. But if you spend more time on quality and give a crappy value, crappy message, that's when you get more refunds. So any questions on that, let me know. What we want to do is jump into, starting to build out the lessons in your outline. So I'll get that in a second. Let's go back to, Elena's here. So creating a virtual event. So once you have your milestones, let's say these are our 6 milestones for creating a virtual event. Now we're just creating the lessons. So I'll probably have 4 to 6 videos. So this is like, I'm going to show them the big picture. And then I'm probably going to do like a goal setting thing where I say like, what's the next event you want to create and when do you want to create it? And then let's figure out how much you want to sell it for and how many people you're going to need. Okay. And then maybe there's like kind of like a mindset or principles or the fundamentals, something kind of like that. That just gets them pumped up and excited. Right? So now I've just created these 3 lessons here inside this first video or this first module. Okay, mapping out the offer. We could talk about identify the promise, right? Or maybe it's identify your customer, and then we have another video on the promise, and then we have the price. And then we could have like what's included. All right. Boom. Like we're rocking and rolling here. Now we've got 2 modules and great videos for each one. Pull this up a little bit. Okay. The technology. We could talk about, live stream options, what you recommend. Then we could talk about audio. We could talk about internet computer capabilities that you got to have, I don't know, whatever else, like email software, whatever they need. And that would all be here. And then you just go along. So this is your chance right now to start taking a look at those milestones and see what specific steps that you can put in. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that now. Remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. 12-minute, bite-size little videos. And if you do have any questions or you need some support or help from me, please put it in the chat box now so I can help you guys. Yeah, so Christelle said, is there a max number of lessons that you recommend? Yeah, I feel like if you're putting more than 7 to 8 lessons in a module, you need to start asking, should this be 2 modules? Because you want to keep giving people the experience of accomplishment. If I'm stuck in module 2 for like a decade, I'm going to be like, gosh, what's module 3 like, right? So you really want to have people feel progress and growth. Hey, Laura, nice to see you on here. I want to create Hire the Helps for online business owners who feel stunted but unsure how to move forward to hire. What is that? Full-time help. Oh, got it. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Do you have an outline? No, Lena said 12-minute total for the module. No, 12 minutes total for each lesson. Yeah, so you want to keep each lesson ideally to 12 minutes. Now, if it's 14 minutes long, don't worry about it. Okay. And again, you get to break every rule. These aren't, because they're not rules. They're guidelines, they're suggestions. You will see I break all my own rules. I mean, this is a massive long training if you think about it. We're coming up on 2 hours here, which I appreciate you guys taking this time with me. Yeah, Laura, if you want to share your outline, that would be great. That's something we could definitely look over. So I'm going to give you guys more time in a little bit. This is an opportunity as we go through this live for you guys to get real feedback from me and the rest of the group. So maybe I'll have you guys email it to me. in a little bit, and then we could review it. Okay. So can I check in with you guys? Has this been valuable so far? Are you guys getting clarity? Is this making a difference for you being here? And you don't have to just tell me that to just, tell me what I want to hear. I just want to make sure it is, because it is a little challenging to be, we're creating content and I'm hanging out with you guys. So, okay, good. Okay, great. So here, I want to just wrap up with some things, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. So I just wanted to give you a chance to just download some stuff. Let's get back into some content for just a moment. Here, I want to look at some opportunities in which we can take a good course and make it great. So how do we make our lessons and our training more impactful? Because that's the whole point, right? Is that we want our students to get the results that we're promising them. So one thing is that we want to look for ways in which we could use formulas. We want to use symbols. We want to use acronyms. So if you look through the Business by Design training, the formulas that we created first and foremost was the Business by Design pyramid, and we call that the framework for what to focus on. And then I developed 7 phases. Now, I only developed these 7 phases because I looked at what my audience was talking about, and they were complaining about not having a plan, not knowing where they were or how to get to where they wanted to go. And I said, well, in order to do that, we have to look at this in terms of phases. You're in one phase, and all you got to do is focus on getting to the next phase. And it immediately helped them getting clarity. So you're not just like giving a bunch of content. You're not just like blah, 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 blah. Let me just talk. You're trying to develop a system or a method that they can understand. They can go, oh, I got it, right? So I use analogies, I use formulas, I use graphics, right? Can you use a Venn diagram? Can you use a pyramid? Can you use, Ray Edwards uses a formula for crafting a sales page. And it's funny, it took a moment to remember it, but it only took a moment. I went through his program on how to sell and write sales copy, and he has an acronym called PASTOR, P-A-S-T-O-R. And I can probably, if I sit here, I'll remember what each letter was. It's P for pastor is problem, A is agitate, S is solution, T is testimony, O is offer, and R is response. Now, I went through that a long time ago. And there's a lot of stuff I go through and I forget. But he put everything into an acronym. So I'll never forget that. Now that I remembered it even again, like that's going to stay with me forever. So how can you do that? We have a formula called the launch equation. It's 4 things to remember for your launch, right? So how can we make it simpler? Again, provide visuals. Now, I'm not just talking about graphs and models here, but when I talk about things, a lot of times I'll show visuals. So, for visuals for this, I just walked you through an existing course. But how can you have imagery and examples that I can see? So when we're talking about, a virtual event, I want to see a screenshot of your event. I want to see what I'm going to expect when I actually do my event. When you're talking about how to promote it, I want to see the emails that you write. I want to see the sales page in there. I don't want just words on a screen. I got to see it too. People are very visual. And that kind of blends into the next one, which is make sure that when you teach something that you give examples, proof, and results. You want to get people to actually take action on what you say is after you tell them what you say, you show them an example of how someone else or you took that action and got a result. So if I said, you should always, this is just a fake example. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to put yellow stars at the top of all of your websites. Little pictures of yellow stars. You'd be like, why would I do that? And then I say, we did that 6 months ago, and here's the difference in sales that have increased the moment we did that. You'd be like, all right, let's get those yellow stars up there. Okay, that's a stupid example to give you, but we do that as much as possible. When I teach something, I'm always backing it up. And so you want to be careful that you don't get stuck in Fluffville, that you get very concrete and specific and then back it all up. So when Mariah is talking about essential things that you can do to promote your Facebook group, she's going to pull from her own examples of, well, when I did this, here's how many people clicked on this, and here's how many people I had joined after I did this. And if you're sitting there going, well, this is hard because I haven't taught it to anybody else yet. Well, this is where setting the expectations with a beta group, you can say, listen, I did this, this works. I'd like to test this out on you. Are you willing to try it? Are you willing to trust me? So then you can come back and say, listen, my betas did it, and here's the results they got. But I think that's really, really important. And you want to, as much as you can, give action items. You want to make sure that people don't stay in student mode too long. Notice that I've been giving you guys exercises and questions to answer, right? So you're not just sitting there taking notes, you're sitting there taking action. You're creating an outline with me, and that's really important. So in every video, could you have an action item? Or if every module is a milestone, is there something that they should have done by the end of it? So there's a series of actions that they have to take in order to really be done with that module. In fact, you could have the last video of your module be like, okay, here's a recap of what we went over. In order to get to the next module, you're going to need to have done these 7 things. Did you do them? Go do them now. And you get to be the motivator, the coach that says, come on, go do these things right now. Remember why you're doing this, right? You get to do whatever you want to inspire and motivate and encourage. Okay, if you have any questions on that, let me know. I want to go over a few other things. These are more like, that was specific kind of to lessons, but what else makes a course great? This is going to go beyond the outline, but you want to write this down as far as like, what else is going to make this course great? Now, the first thing is an onboarding sequence. And what we mean by an onboarding sequence here is member drip-fed emails. So when someone buys your program, can't you have some emails that continue to talk to them and coach them through it? You see, you think that when someone buys your course, you make the mistake to assume that they're going to go through it. Don't you all just assume that someone, after they buy, is just going to go through your whole course? That's a very, very dangerous assumption. In fact, 90% of people who buy a book do not get past the first chapter. 100 people buy a book, 90 of them don't even finish the first chapter. It's not any different with your course. How many courses have you purchased that you didn't go through? You think you're alone in that? So we want to do everything we can in our power to encourage, inspire, talk to, push our students along the path. What are a series of emails that you could have? Just start thinking of ideas to get people to say, hey, if you made it to Module 2, here's a really cool video inside here. It's going to show you this. Like reselling them on that. The biggest reason people refund my courses and the biggest reason people are going to refund yours, it's not because the course wasn't good enough. It didn't provide enough value for me. It wasn't great enough. No, I never used it. That's what they're going to say. Hey, I'd like a refund. Why is that? Oh, I just never got into it. Just never did it. Wait, what? Like, that's crazy. You took the time to go through all the free stuff, jump through all those hurdles, attend a webinar, pull out your credit card at the end of 90 minutes and pay for it, and then you never used it? That's crazy. But there's a lot we can do as course creators to push people along and encourage them and get them back on track. And not just onboarding sequences, but like you can do physical thank you gifts. Let's talk about that for 2 seconds. We've done things. We've sent thank you cards and food in the mail, like brownies and books and stuff like that, and that can help too. Okay. Now again, we talked about the welcome video, so I'm not going to talk about it again. But this is reinstating the promise, reminding them that they've made the right decision, and giving them a quick win. What's something they could do right now to get powerfully engaged and enrolled in this program? Another important thing is you want to do anything you can to provide additional resources. These are the swipe files, the templates, the resource guides or workbooks. Is there a workbook they could print out and follow along with this? Okay. And then obviously we want to build a community around this. Now, when we get into Kajabi, we'll show you how you can use comments to create, engagement and a conversation with you and the students. but we're a big fan, obviously, of using Facebook groups as well. Okay. So any questions on that, let me know before we continue. Or anything that you would like to share about what you found great in a course that you've gone through. You know, this is an opportunity for us to all share from our own experience. Like, yeah, I had someone go through this and it was really great. I really liked this. You know, there's things like Kajabi has a progress bar, so you can see what videos you've done and what percentage you're going through the course. I mean, that type of stuff is so cool, isn't it? Julie said, gosh, this is the first time in my life I feel like I can actually do it. Beautiful. Okay, Laura has her outline. Wonderful. We are going to go over this. Any questions, feedback, anything? Julie says, I love the 7-step bonus from last year's LVA. Oh, let me explain that to you guys. Okay, so this was something really cool. We offered a surprise bonus to people and said 7 days to your first client. And so because the course was so big and overwhelming, we wanted to do something that would get people into action immediately. So we created a 7-day email sequence that once a day for 7 days, it gave them a little piece of content. It directed them to one of the videos in the course and then gave them their homework assignment for the day. So like day 1 was like, write down a list of 5 clients in your area that you've worked with in the past that you think you could reach out with, right? Day 2 is like, map out your offer. What are you selling? How much are you selling it for? What's included? What's not? And it was designed that by the end of the 7 days that they would get their first client, which would pay for the course. Okay, it really gets people simple baby steps. Okay, something you could do like that. It's also a bonus. That's beautiful, right? What if your onboarding sequence is something you were going to do anyways is now a separate bonus? Okay, that's what we call leverage. Thank you for sharing that, Julia. Mariah says, I love bite-sized lessons and the progress bar. Yeah. Oh, on my course. Thank you. It's nice to see what I've done and encourages me to continue. That's one reason why we love Kajabi. Now, other course software does that as well. Janine, nice to see you. Things I like about other courses. Accountability to make sure it's completed. That's good. Challenges or gifts for people that complete certain things or receive certain results. Beautiful. This is about creating an experience, okay? You can go Google how to create a Facebook ad, right? But if we can create an experience, you can't Google the experience. You guys get that? One of the things that we're going to do with Business by Design is as soon as I get back, we have some, as soon as this launch is over, we have some like crazy traveling. Like we have our mastermind in New York, and Chelsea and I then go on our honeymoon. So it's going to be busy. But one of the things we're going to do is create something. We're still coming up with the idea. But for all the new members, including you guys, the betas, we're going to do like a 30-day launch challenge. And basically, we're going to tell everyone that if you want to participate in this challenge, you have 30 days to do a launch, any promotion, and we're going to create a ranking, like it's a contest, based on not how many sales, because some people are going to get discouraged and say, oh, I'm just starting out, blah, 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 but on earnings per lead. Because it's not about how many sales you make, it's about how high you can get the earnings per lead. And so we're going to do prizes and giveaways, and we're going to showcase all the members who do that. You know, you can't Google that. You can't get that in a free blog post. That's part of a community and experience that you develop. Julia said, that's one thing that actually made me start going through the course and doing it, is getting those results and confidence. See, it's making a difference for people. Laura says, when I went through 90 day, they introed an accountability thing where they posted a thread for intentions in the Facebook group on Monday and followed up with tags on Wednesday. That is very cool. Love it. Erica says, I like it when you address the emotional sabotage, mindfulness, and gratitude. Love it. Cool. Okay. So let's do this. We've been going for 2 hours, and this was the biggest outline, or the outline was the biggest module to go through. Okay. And then we're just going to, the rest of it shouldn't take as long, hopefully, fingers crossed. But what I'd like you to do, if you're really involved in this, enrolled in this, and want to really truly create a course that you can sell from this experience, I'm going to ask that we take some time to wrap up to actually do your outline as much as you can. I'm going to ask that we take a short break. Hey, how's it going? James Wedmore here, and in this quick little video, I'm going to walk you through a very simple strategy and process map that if you can follow directions, which I know you can, you're going to be able to see a dramatic increase in your list building efforts. So there should be a link either below this video or on the right-hand column to download the PDF process map. I've done my best to make this strategy as simple and easy to follow for you. And in this video, I'm just going to walk you through it so you have a basic understanding, the ease of application can just be, much more effective for you. So this is called a 30-day list building generator because you can do some pretty good damage in 30 days. It doesn't have to be limited to 30 days. It doesn't even have to take 30 days. It's really up to you. And, I think a lot of people are, there's this whole mystery and magic behind list building. Well, how'd you build your list? Or I don't have a list. And the first thing I want you to understand is that I'm going to reveal a strategy to you that is nothing new, revolutionary, exciting, or different necessarily. I'm not here to give you some secret magic pill or anything like that. But what I am going to do, and if you follow these steps to a T, what you will then have is the ability to control your list building efforts. And I think that's truly what people want. Most people have a little bit of a list and they feel stuck or powerless with their list building efforts. They say, I can't build my list anymore, or I can't get it past 500 people. And this is going to get you out of that. This is going to say, if you want 100,000 people on your email list, you'll know exactly what to do. So even though I'm giving you a strategy here, I'm really giving you the ability to have full control and power over the size of list that you want. Sound too good to be true? Well, here it is, okay? So prove me wrong. So before we get into this, I'm just going to show you that when you download this process, it's 13 steps, okay? And we've done our best to detail it as much as possible. But I will tell you what the process or the strategy is in a nutshell. Actually, the first thing I'll do is tell you what this strategy is not. So what it is not is what most people tell you list building is, which is to create a free report or a freemium or an irresistible free offer. You hear those words and terms time and time again. So you build an opt-in page to your free report, and the free report takes you a month to create. Then you put it on the sidebar of your blog, you write a few blog posts, and you get 50 people to sign up. And you say, wow, that was a lot of work for very little return on my effort. And I say, I agree. So what I'm going to show you here is a much more effective and a quicker strategy for getting list building. And it's as simple as following a webinar list building process. You're going to do a series of webinars or free live workshops where people have to register for the webinar in order to attend and experience this live event. And the beautiful thing is that when they register for the webinar, they'll also be added to your email list. And I'm going to show you how to do all of that. So a lot of people say, well, wait, I don't want to do webinars, or I thought webinars you have to have something to sell. You really don't. What you got to understand is, first and foremost, is webinars are like the quickest and easiest list builder, hands down, because you don't really need to create the content before you can start building your list. And you can't really go around saying, hey, I got my free report, go get my new free report. But you can say, hey, I'm doing a free webinar, I'm doing a free class, free training, a free workshop, a free experience. And people are going to be all about that. So we've broken it down for you, or I've broken it down for you into 13 steps that show you how to do that. And the first step is doing anything you can to survey your list to find out or get an idea of what specific topics you can offer. And so this is what I call the coffee shop survey. It's basically a survey monkey form where you say, if we were to meet up for coffee or tea, what's the biggest question you would ask me? Or what's the biggest thing you're struggling with that I could help you with? And you just have them write and write and write. And you just start reading through those. So whether it's, you have a small list already, or a Facebook group, or maybe a YouTube following, or somewhere where you got a following, you can start with a survey. But there's other ways to look as well, read in Facebook groups and just start to understand, like, what are the topics? What are the biggest questions? What are the biggest issues people are having? And you want to look for very specific things. And then step 2 is you want to come up with at least 3 ideas for possible webinars, okay? Because ideally we want to do one a week, okay? So there's your, kind of your 30 days, right? Your first week is kind of planning and preparing, and then we would do one a week for the next 3 weeks. So this is where we come up with our 30 days. Okay. So, 7 steps to, or discover how to, or how I blank are some examples, right? And the more specific, the better. So like, how to get your first 1,000 followers on Instagram, or discover how to lose, 10 pounds or whatever. I don't know. Okay. Get very specific. Now, the next thing, by step 3, if you really want to do this and to really get into action of this, you're going to look at your calendar and you're going to count a minimum of 7 days from today when you're watching this video. And then you're going to find the next Wednesday or Thursday. So that could be 7 days, it could be 8, it could be 9, it could be 10. Okay? And that Wednesday or Thursday, you're going to pick a time, either 9 a.m. or 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, adjust for your time zone. And that is going to be your first webinar. Okay? So that's step 3. Now, I don't want you to get in your head. This is where people get in their head. Okay, but wait, I don't know about what am I going to do on the topic, and I don't know if I'm going to say this, and I don't have a webinar account. Just pick the date and time. The next thing you're going to do, which is step number 4, is to create a GoToWebinar event. And we kind of show you how to do this. It's really simple, but we do recommend GoToWebinar. You can get a free 30-day trial. Another reason why this is a 30-day list building process. So the next step, which is step number 5, is to create a lead page webinar registration page. Now, we walk you through all the steps with some nice graphics as well, but we do recommend lead pages. There's other stuff out there, and people ask me all the time, what's the difference between this and this? I have no idea. I use what works for me. If it ain't broke, why fix it? So I use lead pages. You don't have to use lead pages, but what I do know about lead pages is that when you create a webinar registration page, it's going to sync with GoToWebinar, and it's going to sync with your email account, okay? Number 6 is to create a split test. Now, this is going to be very important. We walked through the steps as well, is that you want to be running 2 versions of your webinar so you can test the headline to how you position the topic that you're writing about, okay? And there's some examples or some steps on how to do that there. Number 7 is you want to connect lead pages with GoToWebinar. We show you how to do that as well. And then you want to connect it with your email software. So I give you examples from Aweber, MailChimp, iContact, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, Infusionsoft, Ontraport. There's many more. Whatever you got, that's fine, use it. But you want to make sure that when someone registers for the webinar, they're going to be added to your email list and added to GoToWebinar in one fell swoop, okay? And then we want to make sure you have a webinar confirmation page. Now, we're just going to go over this briefly, but this is a very important page to create. This is what it looks like here, so that your audience knows what to do after they register. You want to make sure that they get on the webinar. So when we can have reminders and stuff like that, that's going to be very, very beneficial. Okay, then number 10 and number 11 is when we want to start promoting the webinar. The more we promote the webinar, the more you build your list. So the first thing is you want to see if you can convert as much of your fans and followers on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, your blog, Facebook groups, whatever, onto your email list. And you do that by inviting them to the webinar. But where this really gets powerful, and this is really the secret step to all this, is Facebook advertising. Okay, so I can't stress this enough, that what this really is about sending Facebook ads to a series of free webinars in order to build your email list. It's very simple, but a lot of times when someone's trying to give you some complex, fancy schmancy strategy, you want to avoid those like the plague. This is very, very simple, and it's very scalable. I can't stress this enough. This is how we build our email list. This is how I teach my clients to build their email list, because it works. Now, Facebook ads in and of itself is a bit of a beast, right? It takes some mastery, which we do have a program on it. There is a link here to learn more about my Facebook video advertising program, which shows you exactly how to do this. But we've created some screenshots, a lot actually, like 10, to kind of walk you through the basic steps of how to set up your first ad. If you've run ads before, this is going to help. If you haven't, this might be confusing. Well, that's really beyond this training here, because Facebook ads is its own system. You got to learn Facebook ads. You have to learn them. I mean, when I hear business owners who have still today in 2016 and beyond not use Facebook ads, it baffles me. So now is the time if you haven't. But I've got a lot of like basic best practices and stuff for you to get started here, okay? And I'll tell you how this ties in a moment. Now, once you've done all this in that order, it's not until step 12 where you can start creating the content for your presentation. And I kind of walk you through how to do that. But if you want to share with people the 10 steps to this, the 7 reasons for that, or the 5 tips for this, XYZ, fill in the gaps, now is the time to do it. Because if you have a week before your presentation, you've got plenty of time to craft the presentation. And what I do recommend, as you'll see right here in step 12, is to create an offer. Okay? And so this means if you're spending money on Facebook ads, let's say it's only $100. Well, you should have something for sale so that you could at the very least, make your money back. Hopefully then some. Because what you want to do is you want to reinvest that and repeat it the next week. Okay? So step 13 is about measuring results. This is where the real magic comes in. After you've hosted your webinar, after you've given extraordinary value on the call, you want to take the time to really understand your numbers and your metrics. And it's not hard. It doesn't matter if you're not math oriented. I've given you 4 simple steps. You want to make sure you know by the end how many total registrants or new leads did you receive from the webinar. And then you want to see how much did it cost in Facebook ads so that you can identify step 2, your cost per registrant. So in this example below, if I had 200 people register and I spent $200 on ads, well, I basically spent $1 per lead. Well, why is that important? Right? Well, so step 3, it says, can you recoup your cost per lead? Can you be selling something on your webinar so you at least make your money back? The answer is yes. And you could be offering a coaching program, a done-for-you service, a boot camp, an online course, something. You should be offering something to at least make your money back. Here's why. If you know that each lead costs you $1, well, then setting your goals becomes extremely easy. If you want 10,000 leads, if you want an email list of 10,000, you just have to spend $10,000. And if a lot of people say, well, I don't want to spend money to build my list, then you're looking at your business backwards. Because list building is really business building. The bigger your list, the bigger your business. And you must be willing to invest in your list in order to grow your business. And you can recoup your costs, especially at $1 per lead. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get $1 per lead. I'm not saying that that's what you should expect. That's actually really good. I mean, if you could get $2 to $3 per lead, you're still doing really, really well. But this is the first step to building your list. So that is it. I know some people wanted something that's some more fancy maneuvering and magic secret bullets, but it is literally about, for the next 30 days, could you spend a week planning and then do 3 webinars, 1 each week? Now, you can do more than that if you'd like. That's up to you. And set a goal only after you do the first webinar of how many leads you'd like, and it's all based on how much you spend. And I've really given you all the steps here for how to map this out. I didn't really cover what to say or do on your webinar because for just list building efforts, it should really just be focused on providing value. Just share a bunch of great content, build up the goodwill, answer questions, and support people on whatever you can talk about officially, anything that you feel qualified to talk about, okay? So this is the 30-day list generator. All these steps kind of share with you everything you need to set up what could be your first ever webinar. And even though it's live, I'm going to recommend, have fun with it. Don't worry about trying to get it perfect. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to have ums and ahs. You're allowed to say, hold on, let me try that again. It's okay. It's live. People are craving that real authenticity. So if you have any questions, you can type them in the comment box below, but this is pretty straightforward. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to download that process map if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to module number 3, all designed to help you craft that home run, irresistible offer. Now, I don't think I need to tell you that this is one of the most important elements when it comes to building a profitable business around your expertise and stepping into that digital CEO role. Why? Because without a great offer,
you're not going to make more sales, right? You're not going to bring in more income, let alone more impact. In fact, this is one of the biggest things that we see constantly happening with struggling entrepreneurs everywhere. Is they have a great idea for a course, they just aren't able to communicate it effectively as an offer. We're going to fix that for you right now today in this module. So think about that really for a moment. How are you expected to grow your business? And by grow, we mean more income and more impact if you're selling something that no one wants, right? The irresistible offer is the offer that people already want. So when you get this right, selling becomes easy. It becomes effortless. Heck, it becomes fun. I'm having a lot of fun. I want you to have a lot of fun. So that's what we're here to do. And if you wanted, right now, I'm going to give it to you, 100% guaranteed strategy for increasing your revenue in the next 12 months, or heck, the next 90 days, it's as simple as this. Put more offers in front of more people. Simple. Almost too simple, right? Ask for more sales from more people. And you've massively increased your odds of making more money. But what if you don't know how to craft an offer, let alone a great one, let alone an irresistible one? What if you're doing it all wrong? Well, here's a hint. If you're not seeing the sales you want right now and you are putting offers out there, chances are you've not yet mastered this essential skill. So that's what we're here to do, right? In this module, we'll be focusing on exactly how to do that. I'm going to give you a very simple to follow framework and process for transforming your business by crafting that irresistible offer that you already have inside of you. That offer that practically sells itself. So I hope you're ready. Okay, in order to start right, I created some what you would call rules, okay? These are rules that will really help orient you and get you to focus on the right things. Things that we just see like what others are doing wrong. Okay, so let me explain. This is what I'm going to call offer rule number 1. Ready? No one wants your stinking course. Now that's a tough pill for most people to swallow. But the fact is, the quicker you realize that no one lies in bed at night wanting, wishing, and dreaming about an online course or your membership or coaching or anything like that, well, the quicker we can get on with selling it. So I want you to think of it this way. If I had a pill that you could take and it would magically give you a $10 million a year business, and yes, we have to suspend disbelief for a moment and pretend that I actually had a pill that could do that and there's no side effects, and I also had an online course that taught you how to do the exact same thing, and both are priced the same, but you can only have one. Which one would you take? The pill or the course? The pill or the course? Now, even if you're trying to be cheeky with me right now, right? If you're actually being honest with yourself, you'd probably take the pill, right? Why? Because what you're actually buying is the result, the transformation of a $10 million a year business. Wouldn't that be awesome? Right? You're not buying the pill or a course. You're buying the transformation. And what most struggling entrepreneurs are forgetting is they're not speaking to that transformation. And we're going to show you exactly how to do that, right? But think about it this way. Why would anyone want to sit through hours and hours and hours like you're doing right now of content to learn, to take notes, and do things if they had the option of just getting the end result immediately? Right? So no one wants the course that you're selling. They want what it will do for them. They want that end result. Okay? So you're trying to sell a course, and you're talking about all the amazing features and videos and resources and the PDFs and the formatting and the pretty logos and fonts. Again, that's the first place you've gone horribly wrong. Your people want the outcome, what it will do for them. And if you aren't directly speaking to that specific transformation, then you're leaving a massive amount of sales on the table and you're denying customers the help that they actually need. You're leaving people behind. So the first thing we got to fix when we ask, what's your offer? We're not talking about the product, like the course and the membership. We're talking about the offer. Now, just for a moment, I want you to consider this. Offer is actually a verb. It's an action. Now, perhaps it's been nominalized, like turned into a noun, but it still describes an act. While an online course or a membership or a product is a noun. Okay? And most are under the delusion, if you will, that if you just create a course, people are going to magically buy it. How's that working out for you, right? But now you know the truth, that no one wants a course, and a course is a noun, which means there's no action taken on your part. It's just like, here's this thing. An offer describes the act of asking for the sale. Yeah, you're going to have to ask for a sale. But if you increase the amount of times you ask for a sale to more people, well, what do you think happens? Yep, more sales. It's a natural cause and effect relationship. Just like if you ask more questions, you tend to get more answers. Okay? So that was our first offer rule. Let's go on to the second one. Offer rule number 2. In short, your course is your course. Your offer is that unique way in which you present or sell your course that makes buying it a no-brainer. And just like everything, there is a right way to do this and a wrong way. So the 90-10, the like Pareto principle of irresistible offers, the 10% that makes 90% of the difference, it presupposes that 10% of those activities are directly responsible for 90% of the results. Well, in your launch or your promotion, when you make that offer, when you make that sale, then the 10% that makes the difference is the offer itself. In other words, if your launch didn't go the way you wanted it, the first place to look, and most likely the place we look, is the offer. Okay? But if we dive deeper and we look at the offer itself, the 90-10 of the offer is to the transformation. Did we speak to the results, the outcomes, the transformation that your customers want? Okay. Now don't worry, we're going to go over exercises and everything to flush this all out with you, but we got to lay the groundwork. So let's move on to offer rule number 3. All irresistible offers solve a problem and speak to the desired end result of how the prospect's life can be transformed. So, are you spending more of your time talking about your course or your prospect's transformation? This is exactly what we're talking about, guys. So, there is a direct correlation with your ability to describe the right transformation and the effectiveness of the offer, like how well it sells. Let me say that again. There is a direct correlation with your ability to describe the transformation that your clients want and the effectiveness or performance of the offer, like how well it sells. So how do we do this? Okay, in the next video, I'm going to introduce you to all the essential ingredients that makes up your home run offer. And then the rest of this module is broken out into several videos that simply take you through a series of exercises designed to give you the clarity that you really need to create an offer that is absolutely irresistible. Okay, so I hope you're ready to get started. I'll see you in that next video. Take care. All right, welcome back. James Wedmore here with Module 3.2, where we're going to quickly introduce you to the big picture overview of the essential ingredients to crafting your irresistible offer, so we can break them all down for you in the remainder of this module. Now, as we already covered in the last video, your offer is the ask. It's the action of asking, and it's how you ask, right? And it's answering those questions that can be as simple as, here's what I've got, here's what it will do for you, and here's how to get it. Wow, that's really simple, right? Another way to look at this is the quid pro quo. It's the this for that. And it's a this that makes the that a no-brainer. For example, I'm going to give you a couple of cool examples in this video. If I said a VIP day with me, like a full day with me, fly you out, and you're at my office, and we do a whole strategy session, is $15,000 normally priced on my website, but as a member of Business by Design, you can sign up for one of these VIP days so we can flush out a profit plan for your next 12 months to 3 to 5x your business, and we say it's half off. It's not $15,000 for you, it's half off. It's $7,500. Is that a good offer? Well, if you answered yes, you'd be correct. It is a good offer. And we're going to start to break this down so you can notice even what I did just in 10 seconds. Okay, first notice I created a price anchor at $15,000. So I started at my base rate of $15,000. And I spoke a bit already to the promise that we're going to spend a day together, we're going to map out the next 12 months with a goal of 3 to 5x in your business. And I can imagine with that example, some of you could already see how you could easily attract an additional $7,500 in your business just as a result of the work we do together on that one day, right? Like, oh my gosh, I could just sell 1 or 2 more clients and boom, it pays for itself. In other words, the value was established pretty quickly and it was pretty clear. And you didn't, most likely, find yourself comparing the price to something cheaper. You didn't make your decision of whether or not you were interested in this based on if you had the money or not. You already know that it would make you more money. You already knew it was a bit of a no-brainer. Okay? So there is a direct correlation with your ability to make your offer irresistible and how many objections and resistance you will experience. In fact, that's what's preventing performance in the first place. You're experiencing their resistance and they have objections. In this module, you are going to learn exactly how to overcome any resistance and objections that your client may be presenting to you. Okay? In other words, if you don't follow the exercises closely in this module, you're going to run the risk of not having an irresistible offer and then causing even more objections from your clients to come up and more resistance, and ultimately all of that turns into more no's, more rejection. So we got that out of the way. I think the next thing that's important for me to bring up is to really understand that this is a skill. Crafting and communicating an offer is a skill. Are you going to master it overnight? No, it takes time, right? Mastery comes from action, repetition, and practice. So the real question is that something that you're actually willing to do? No, James, I only want $1 million business to happen magically overnight, the first time I do it with no mistakes, no letdowns, no failures. Sorry, it's not going to happen that way, okay? I spent, after years of already having a successful business, I spent 3 years perfecting the offer for Business by Design. 3 years and 7 launches, okay? But most people give up after just 3 months. Then they wonder why they weren't successful. Well, there's your answer. But I know that's not going to be you, right? Okay, so let's quickly just review all the ingredients that you need to have if you want your offer to be a home run, irresistible one. So first we begin with the 3 Ps, the promise, the process, and the price. Really quickly, the promise addresses who this is for, the specific problem that's being solved, and the transformation that becomes possible for them. The next piece is the process. Now, the process is the way in which this problem gets solved. Like a VIP day was my process, right? And the price is, well, it's how much. Okay? Promise, process, price. This is your foundation. And that's exactly what I presented in my offer when I was speaking about a VIP day just moments before. Okay? It's the basics. But it's not everything. Here's how we can take your offer to an entirely new level. First, you can add bundles or bonuses to increase the value of your offer, right? After you've stated the price. Now think about this opportunity I mentioned, the offer that I shared as an example. It's an example. It's not a real offer. This exclusive opportunity to get this VIP day with me for $7,500, right? That's the offer. Now imagine for a moment you've actually considered it, okay? Now, as you're considering this offer, $7,500 VIP day, what if I told you that after the VIP day, you're also going to get as a bonus gift to me 90 days of follow-up coaching with me? Or you get access to all my other products and programs for life, absolutely free. And so let me ask you, in adding that value, did that start to push you over the edge? Did that increase your desire just even a little bit? Notice that when done correctly, a bonus is a value add that sweetens the deal. And you do this after you've presented that core offer and the price. And when your bonuses this is the best part, When your bonuses simultaneously remove all the remaining objections, yes, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, well, you're going to be a friggin' ninja. So don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how this is done. Okay, the next ingredient you can add, which I think is paramount, is the risk reversal. Okay, so looking at my offer as an example, the VIP day, was there any resistance that did come up for you? Like, oh, that sounds great, James, but what if I don't make my money back? Or how long will it take to make my money back? You see, one of the biggest walls that's preventing your people from investing in you is that fear of loss that they have associated with buying. They see buying from you as a risk. They're asking themselves questions like, what if this doesn't work for me? What if it's not what I actually thought? What if this is just a scam? And if you aren't able to remove that risk completely, those fears, those thoughts, they will not buy. Okay? So let's look at my VIP day offer once again. And I want you to check in and get present to that desire. One day with me, $7,500, right? This is just an example. And notice your feeling around investing in that offer. What changes when I say something like, if you don't make an additional $50K in your business by the end of the next 90 days, I will personally give you 100% of your investment back. If you don't make $50K in the next 90 days, I'm going to give you your money back. Now, what did that do? Did that put you over the edge? A little bit? Did that make this a little bit more possible and doable for you? Well, this is the risk reversal. And there are many different approaches to this, and we're going to go over this in Module 3.7 together. But I want to give you one more example. Some of you might have noticed that I recently ran a live 2-day masterclass for $97 teaching a course or teaching course creators how to nail your niche, which, by the way, you have access to. We'll link this up below this video, but you have access to this in your course library. And I created a guarantee for that offer. The guarantee was really simple. Nail your niche by the end of this 2-day workshop or your money back. We had over 605 customers in a week, which is over 2% conversion rate, and we had less than a 3% refund rate. In fact, in a moment, I'll come back to this one as a fantastic example of an irresistible offer to show you more of how we put that together. But let's talk about the next ingredient really quickly, which is scarcity and urgency. People need a reason why now in order to take action. So if I told you I only had one spot remaining for a VIP day, or you have to get your application in by tomorrow at midnight, would that move the needle for you? Would that start to get you into action? Well, if this is something that was already a bit desirable for you, of course it would. That's why you'll see 40 to 60% of your sales come in that final 36-hour period, right? People wait until the last minute. I wish they didn't, but they do. And if there isn't a last minute, like if it just keeps going on into eternity, then they're just going to keep waiting. Don't believe me? Check out your Amazon wish list. How many products you got sitting in there for one day, someday you're going to buy? Okay, let me introduce you really quickly to the last ingredient, and this is what I call story. Now, you already know that story is extraordinarily powerful. Since we were a young age, like the age of 2, we were asking that question, why? Why? Okay? And a great story, an effective story, answers that question. Because your prospects are asking that why. Why this offer? Why are you selling this? Why is there a deadline? Why are there bonuses? Why is he doing it this way? Why is she doing that? Okay, so if you don't answer that question why, then your prospects will. And their answers will never be as good as yours, okay? So I could tell the story as I present my offer of why I do a VIP day, right? I could talk about how so many of my students have asked me for it in the past. Or I could share experiences of how it's helped other clients and I see the value of it and I want to help more people. It's a really simple story as that, right? Okay, so that's the story element. Now really quickly, we're going to recap and then we're going to get into the work and get this done. But to recap really quick, it's the 3 Ps: promise, process, and price. And then we add your bundles and bonuses, your risk reversal, scarcity and urgency, and story. Okay, that is it. Now really quickly, before we wrap this up, I want to show you exactly how that came together for a home run offer that we did, that I mentioned earlier, called the Nail Your Niche Workshop. Now, like I said, this offer had 605 sales in 4 days. Oh, and by the way, this is the best part. All we had was a simple sales page. Okay, we're linking all that up below so you have the exact examples and stuff. We had a 2.5+% conversion rate. There was no launch, no free content, no webinar, nada. Just a sales page and a Facebook ad. Okay, and that's pretty amazing. That's just proof of when you have a great offer, you don't need all the other stuff as much. It helps to do both, but we got to start with the irresistible offer. So here's how all the ingredients that I just listed out work together with this offer. Let's start with the problem. If you don't know what you're known for, how will anyone ever know you, let alone buy from you? That's the problem that we started with, was that if you don't know your niche, if you don't know your specialty, you're not going to get sales. Problem. Then we introduced the story element. And I said, you know, I'm seeing far too many of the good guys and the good gals out there that want to help people, and they're not able to help people, they're not getting paid, they're not growing their business because they're stuck at this first pivotal roadblock, identifying your niche. And the promise, nail your niche so you know with absolute certainty, clarity, and confidence who you serve and how you serve them so you can finally begin attracting more clients with less effort. Then we threw in the guarantee, and nail your niche by the end of the class or your money back. Now, the process was a 2-day live virtual workshop over 2 days, right? And the price, we presented the price at $297, but then I made an offer and say, get it for just $97 today, but price goes up to $297 at midnight. And there's that urgency piece. Then I threw in some quick bonuses. Plus, you're going to get lifetime access to the recordings and the slide deck. Okay? Now, for the right person, that was the right offer. And it crushed. Again, linked up below is the sales page for this exact offer, so you can see it in greater detail. Okay, so hopefully by now you've seen the big picture of the core ingredients to your irresistible offer. And hopefully it's helped to see a few of my examples of what has worked in the past for us. But now it's your time. It's your time to get to work so you can flush out your home run irresistible offer. So let's do this.
This is module 3.3, where this is part 1 of nailing the promise to your offer. So if you haven't yet, there's 2 worksheets that you're going to need. It's really nice to have these printed out or handy or in front of you in your workbook. The one on the left is the one that's the big picture overview of the 6 core ingredients required for your home run irresistible offer. Breaking it down from the promise to the process to the price, and we're going to go a little bit deeper. So by the end of this module, you'll have identified all of your ingredients. We're going to spend some time here, though, in the first ingredient, which is your promise. It's made up of several steps, which means in this video, you'll need another download, which is what we call the before and after. It's kind of like those 2 a.m. infomercials when you see the before, the person on the left, and the after on the right. And you're like, I want that, right? Well, we're going to break this up into 2 parts. So this video is focused on the questions that will elicit the before, and then the next video is the after. So go get those worksheets handy, and we can continue. Okay, let's go ahead and really break down what we mean when we talk about the promise of your offer. Okay, we are identifying really 3 things. So when you've nailed the promise, you've gotten these 3 things right. Who specifically this is for? Again, if you haven't taken our niche masterclass, that's a great place to start because we're really not going to go into the who specifically, but the key word really here is specifically. You're not everything to everyone. Otherwise, you end up being nothing to no one. So who exactly? Who is this for? That person should say, oh, this was made just for me. And then what specific, there's that word again, problem do you solve? We must solve a problem. You are in the problem removal business. If there isn't a problem to be solved, then people won't pay to solve it. And what you're going to learn, especially in the next video, is there's a difference between the source of a problem and the symptom of a problem. And that alone is going to be a game changer that's going to take your marketing to the next level and get people to buy even easier, more effectively. And then, of course, we have to identify the specific transformation. And what we mean by transformation is the result, what life is like now, or after the problem gets solved, right? What is their life like after this problem gets solved? So this is what we're going to do together, and this is going to take 2 videos. I need you to be open. I need you to be coachable. I need you to go take everything you think you know about this and put it aside, because when you take all the stuff you think you know already and try and learn something new, it's called whipped cream on garbage. There's no room for something new. So we got to start with a clean slate, okay? You ready to get into it? So I want to, before we get into the exercises, I want to take a look at what we mean by problem a little bit more. First and foremost, a problem is an experience of something unwanted. Like someone has something they don't want, or they don't have something that they do want, right? And it's an external problem first. It's external in that we mean it's a manifestation in the external world. Like we can see it, taste it, touch it, feel it. Like we can see their problem, right? And then there's how they think and feel about that problem. So what most people are doing is they're just talking about what someone thinks and feels about the problem instead of addressing the problem itself. Like, for example, I help you get unstuck. Stuck isn't a problem, it's the experience, interpretation, emotion, or thought patterns around the problem. They're stuck about something specific, and we got to get to that. So we're going to get into all this, so don't you worry. And then I just want to take a moment and go a little bit deeper with defining the transformation. The transformation is and always starting with the external result, outcome, or achievement. There's far too many people. And look, you can get away with this. It's just going to make your job and your life and your business harder. Where the transformation they're selling is really up in the clouds, intangible, like airy-fairy, like feeling. And the thing is if what you're selling first and foremost is not an external result, outcome, or achievement, but rather it's just a feeling or a state of mind, well, I want you to consider the fact that a state, an internal state like confidence or acceptance or self-love is something that anyone can choose to have in this moment. And so when the transformation begins with something that anyone could have in this moment, are they really going to pay you to go out and get it? Now, that might be a hard pill for some of you to swallow, but I do want you making more sales, which is an example of an external result. So you can't just close your eyes and have more sales, but you actually can close your eyes and experience more confidence. You can choose to shift your attention and your awareness and start to feel more confidence, okay? Then it's how do they think and feel about this new outcome, all right? So that's a transformation. Okay, then in a moment, we're gonna have you go through these questions and you're gonna do your best to answer them, kind of just like get out of your head and start writing. Now, if you haven't taken the ideal client meditation, that might be a really great place to start connecting, but we'll have that linked up for you, okay? But here's, when you finish writing, you got to do this litmus test, and most people aren't doing this. Again, I'm here to make things easier for you by giving you the simple things, but it's going to come down to whether you do them or not. A lot of people are writing down things that are very broad, very general. We need what you write down, what your answers, to be specific, concise. You know, like, is it take you 20 minutes to explain what it is that you do, or can you say it in like just a few words? Is it simple? 4th grade level. No metaphors, folks. We gotta end the metaphors. I help people get their head out of the clouds so they can, you know, I know we understand what that means, but that we can't assume that everyone does. We have to use literal, simple, 4th grade language. And I know this is going to be really uncomfortable for some of you, but it's what works. And is it tangible? Again, can we see it? The great example is if you described, or whatever your answers are that you wrote down, is this something that we could capture on a video camera? And a lot of times what people write down, you can't capture that on a camera. And the camera needs to be able to see it, right? Okay. Like 2 people in love,
We can see that when they're in arm and they're kissing and they're locking eyes, sitting on a park bench, not noticing anyone or anything else. So the more I went into that, it's one thing to say a couple in love, but notice how clear of an image you got in your mind when I started describing this couple sitting together at this park. Their eyes are locked, their hands are clasped together. They're making out. Okay. All right. So that's the litmus test. I'm going to check in with you on the end. Okay. So, and is it clear at the end of the day? Is it just like, do we understand it? Do people get it? Okay. So that's your litmus test. You're going to check on your answers. We'll check on this on the end. So again, here's the before and after sheet again that we're going to use to help elicit the promise. This video is focused just on the left-hand column. And then in the next video, we're going to go to the right-hand column. Plus, I'm going to give you an example here in this video. So what is the specific problem or struggle that your ideal customer experiences right now? Now, here's the 2 key sentences, because here's one of the big mistakes before you pause this video and start writing your answers. There's a difference between the cause of a problem and the symptom of the problem. The cause of the problem, if they knew the cause, right now, they probably wouldn't still have the problem. So a lot of people say things like, I'm going to heal your self-love trauma from your childhood. Most people don't know that they have that stuff. What they have is a symptom caused by that trauma or by something that happened as a kid or their core beliefs or whatever. So we must describe the symptom. And I'm going to give you a quick example of this. If somebody has a headache, the symptom is an aching, throbbing pain in their head. The problem could be dehydration, but you don't walk around saying, are you struggling from dehydration? No, you say, are you struggling with a throbbing pain in your head? You must describe, how are they complaining about this? How do they describe it? Use their words, their language. Describe the symptom of the problem. Pause this video, take as much time as you need, and flush that out now. Okay, hopefully you're doing that and not just going through the motions. If you think you're just going to go through the motions and I'm going to craft your offer for you, good luck with that one, right? Okay, so number 2, what circumstances are currently present in their lives? In other words, like time, money, just their situation. Like, how do we describe the circumstances of their life right now? This is going to help really give some tangible context to the problem. What do they have that they don't want? And what do they not have that they do want? Take as much time as you need. Flush this out. There's no right or wrong answer right now. It's about getting it all out on paper. Go. Okay, hopefully you're pausing this video as we go, because I'm just going to keep asking these questions, and you can take as much time here as you need. Now, this is, again, really powerful one. If we took a video camera to this person's house, like we were a documentarian, and we filmed a day in their life, what would the camera capture? In other words, you can only use visual descriptions. Cameras can't capture emotions, metaphors, concepts, and analogies. Cameras capture what they see only. So what would the camera capture? This is going to be really uncomfortable and awkward for a lot of people. Do the work. Pause this video right now. Okay, and then number 4, what thoughts do they say to themselves? What do they say to themselves? Like, gosh, this is never going to work. Or, why does this always happen to me, right? What are those negative self-defeating thoughts? That little negative Nancy voice in their head. And then how do they feel? How does that leave them feeling? The more specific we get, the better. Like, what conclusions does it lead them to? One of the great examples I heard was somebody who helps busy moms. And they talked about this thought or this belief that starts to come up for moms, like, maybe I'm not cut out to be a good mom. It's like, whew, man. And when you share that with your audience, it's like, you might be so busy and, 3 weeks behind on the laundry. You might be telling yourself over and over again or questioning whether or not you're even fit to be a good mom. This is what creates empathy, connection, rapport, because you get inside their hearts, you get inside their minds. But notice we lead first with the specific, tangible, external, then we go inward.
Okay? So take the time, do that now. Okay. Here's a great question to look at. Why haven't they been able to solve this problem already? Now, there's going to be two routes that you want to approach this. What beliefs, thoughts, what have they already been saying to themselves that have been causing them to not solve this problem? Like maybe they don't believe in themselves or something like that. But then what external things maybe have been getting in the way? Okay? Maybe like they just haven't had the time or something like that, right? So pause this video and look at it from every different angle. What has prevented them from solving this problem already? Okay. Now, if you're watching right now, I'm going to assume and speak to you as if you have invested in yourself, invested in your future by taking the time to actually answer these questions. If you didn't, what you're telling yourself, or me as well, is that creating an irresistible offer really isn't that important to me, James. We know by now that it is. So take the time, okay? Then what you're going to want to do, and you want to be really honest with yourself, because this is where it gets hard. You're the one coming up with the answers, and if you've never created an irresistible offer, how will you really know if you got good answers or not? Well, we have to look objectively. Maybe it's nice to take a break from this, like go for a walk or come back and revisit this the next day, because you have to be honest with yourself and say, did what I come up with, was it specific? Was it concise? Was it simple? Was it tangible? Was it clear? And you have to be like brutally honest with yourself. And another way to do it is, how can I make this more specific? Like read the answer and say, how can I make this more specific? How can I make this more concise? How can I make this more simple? How can I make this more tangible and more clear? You may want to get a third party involved, like a loving, supportive spouse or a friend or a neighbor or a business partner, an employee, and get them to say, is this specific enough? Is this concise enough? Because this is so important. Guys, I've just been doing this for so long, and so many people are so, they keep it so 30,000 feet. In other words, so intangible, so conceptual that no one really understands it but you. And if your ideal customer doesn't understand the promise, the problem, the transformation, how do you ever expect them to get on board and invest and buy? They got to get it. It's got to be able to click for them in 5 seconds. Now, if this has been challenging for you, good. If this has been uncomfortable for you, good. It means you're learning, means you're making progress. And this is one of the 5% activities. So you're learning and on the road to a mastery of one of the things that separates those who think they're a course creator because they spent 6 months creating a course, and those that are actually out there making a difference in the world, selling it, creating transformations and transactions. Okay? So this takes work, and we're putting your time, effort, energy, and attention on the right type of work. So well done for doing that. Now, I'm just going to help you by giving you some examples. The first is my example, and I'm going to start with Video Traffic Academy, my #classic example that I've had for years. So I'm going to show you really quickly and very simply the answers I came up with, and then there's also a PDF download at the end of it that you can watch after this video that has examples from some of our students and clients, including notes and feedback from me. Okay, so what's the specific problem or struggle that these ideal customers are experiencing? The specific problem or struggle is they're not seeing enough sales or customers, and it's not consistent. Maybe they don't have a big enough email list or following. I could even get real specific on how big their following is, like only a couple hundred people on their email list, and they're not growing it by more than 1 or 2 a day. They feel lost and confused. Notice that that's not as specific in the experience. They feel lost and confused, but they don't know what is the best marketing strategy, online marketing strategy for their business. They don't have a solid, consistent, proven, replicatable plan for how to get people to find them. That's the problem, okay? Now, what circumstances are currently present in their lives? Well, if they don't have enough sales, they don't have enough revenue, they don't have enough profit, they're doing mostly everything themselves. So they're working really long and really hard. They're spending all day doing social media stuff that doesn't really seem to be working. And they'd prefer to have a better strategy, a stronger community, a more loyal audience and following, but they don't have any of that. Okay, so I just took a moment and came up with a few things here. Really simple, right? Now, if we took a video camera and filmed their day, what would we see? Well, we'd see them in front of their computer, maybe at their home, an office, and they're in front of that computer way too long. like 12 hours a day, right? And they're working way too hard. They're spending all day writing a blog post, going back and forth on social media comments. Maybe they're in a Facebook group trying to answer 100 questions, hoping that someone will say, oh, you know what you're talking about. Can I give you money? Right? Spending hours on social media in front of their phone, but they still have nothing to show for it. Like they're not getting the comments. They're not getting the results. They're not getting people back to their website. Okay? Just a little bit of an example of that. Why haven't they been able to solve this problem already? Well, they haven't found the right strategy for them. Most likely, they don't have any strategy at all. They're just staying busy and reactive on social media. Okay? The big thing is course creators are struggling to make sales and build a following. All right, so why haven't they been able to solve this problem already? Well, the simple answer is that they just haven't found a strategy. It's more of a reactive, stay busy on social media all day kind of thing, right? Which is no strategy at all. They have no plan to put their stuff in front of people so when people are searching for it, they get found instead of their competitors. Okay, so there's an example of some stuff, right? And here's the biggest thing. This entire exercise was designed to help you identify the problems that you solve. We are all in the business of solving problems. This is the first piece, and it's one of the most important things. We must elicit the specific problems that your prospect is dealing with. Why? Because humans are wired for survival, which means their attention and their awareness goes to the threat that is right in front of them. In other words, when they experience a problem, they tend to get tunnel vision. And that's all they focus on is, I got a problem. How do I fix this problem? I got to fix this problem. Here's this problem. I got to fix it. Who's got the answer to this problem? I need someone to solve this problem. Who's the best at this? Okay? Their attention becomes consumed by this, and chances are you know what I'm talking about. It's happened to me before, so I know what's happened to you, right? So, for example, you've got a headache. You start going, I got a headache. Oh, my head hurts. Gosh, I can't concentrate. Oh, this really sucks. It's like a jackhammer. My head hurts, right? Problem. Now, again, the bad marketer would come along and say, hey, would you like my 6-module video course on how to heal your life and live your highest potential? Would you like to learn how to heal your life? The prospect's going to say, oh, that actually sounds really cool, but I've got to get this headache fixed. So who can help me with this headache? Who can help me with this headache? I got a headache. Right? It's like, no, my stuff helps do that too. Right? But it does all these other things as well. So when your prospect has a specific problem, they're focused on finding a specific solution. They want the specialist, not the person promising everything. This is so critically important. And look, I just want you to give yourself permission to do this wrong, to do this messy, to make mistakes in the pursuit of getting this right. That's why you may need to go back and do this exercise 2 or 3 more times. You're just going to get better and better and better. I know I did. I sucked at this when I started. I made so many mistakes. I mean, I still do. But I know this now. And now it's time for you to learn this. Okay, so here's what you're going to do. If it's going to benefit you more to learn by examples, which I'm that type of person, we've included a PDF as well with a ton of examples of our existing students who have gone through this exercise. It's going to be very beneficial and helpful to you to go through those examples. Plus, it includes notes from me. Those notes are in red, so that'll be really nice for you to look at. But before you move on to the next video, you need to have flushed out and answered these questions. Okay, so make sure you do that because everything we do from this point out just builds on this exercise. So go do that now, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Part 2 of identifying your offer's promise. In the last video, 3.3, we looked at the problem, the symptom, right? And now we're moving to the transformation, the results, the solution, what life is like after, okay? So just to recap, again, what we're doing in these 2 videos is identifying your offer's promise, which is who specifically, what problem that you solve, and what specific transformation do they want? What is the result that they're willing to pay for? Remember, people don't pay for coaching or courses. They pay for results. This number 3 is what we're going to identify for you
in your home run offer in this video. And again, you cannot have an irresistible offer that people just throw money at without speaking to these specific results that they truly want and desire. If you don't get this right, don't expect people to buy from you, okay? So let's talk about the transformation again. This is an external result, outcome, or achievement, and it also includes how they think and feel about that outcome, okay? It's also really easy to look at this as being the opposite of the problem, okay? So if you can just look at what you wrote down in the left-hand column in last video, you can just say, well, what's the opposite of that, right? So if someone is struggling to make more sales, the transformation is more sales. Now we can get more specific than that, but in the general sense, not enough sales, enough sales, right? If someone's struggling to find a girlfriend or a boyfriend, the transformation is a girlfriend, right? If someone's struggling to find their dream job, the transformation is their dream job. Struggling to get a raise, the transformation is the raise, right? It's usually just the direct opposite to begin with, the opposite of the problem or what you wrote down in your exercises as the answers to the questions I gave you in the last video, which is kind of easy, right? The transformation speaks to the absence of the problem and the actual thing that they want. So are you speaking to the transformation, or are you just describing your course modules, your fancy PDFs, how long your videos are? This is vitally important. All right, so let's get into this. The first question is, having solved this problem, like if you just waved the magic wand over this person's life, if they got the genie in the lamp and they asked for the wish and the wish could give them their best life, what specific, tangible, be clear and concise, results do they have in their life now? Related, of course, to the problem. If it's just, we don't want to go into the other stuff in their life. You know, if you're talking about business, you don't necessarily need to go talk about now they like found a new spouse or something like that, right? But in the context of this arena, this category of problems that we're solving, what results do they have now? Pause this video, take as much time as you need until you really see that and get clear on it. Okay, next question. Having these things that they have now, these results, these outcomes, these transformations, how do they feel now? Now we bring in the emotion. What do they say to themselves? Those are thoughts, what we think, and then where we place our attention, our thoughts, determine by and large our emotional state. So we get something, most people, they get an experience of something external. They then put their attention on it. They have a belief around it, and then that causes an emotional state. We want to tap into that right now, right? How does it make them feel? What do they say to themselves? Pause this video, answer that, take as much time as you need. Now, here's a fun one. Who are they now as their belief about themselves changed, their identity, how other people see them? How would they like to see themselves? What would they like to say who they are now as an individual? Pause this video, write down whatever comes up for you. All right, again, we're going to use this video camera trick. If we filmed a day in their life with their new happy ever after transformative story, what would the camera capture? Make sure when you write this down, you reread it and say, is that really something that a camera would capture? Okay, next question. How does solving this positively affect other areas of our life? Now we want to go into the ripple effect. Now we want to see, how does this change start to change other things in their life? You know, if someone finally drops the unwanted weight, do they become a little bit more attractive to the opposite sex? Do they have a little bit more confidence? Do they now get to dress in nicer clothes and feel more confident? See, that's this ripple effect, right? Take the time now and see what that ripple effect looks like. Okay, here's a biggie. We're going to talk about more about this in the messaging module. What is the consequence of not solving this problem? What happens if this problem goes unsolved? What happens if they do not solve this problem? What happens? What happens a year from now, 2 years from now? Take the time, answer that now. Okay, if you're listening to my voice, looking at your screen right now, I am going to assume that you've answered those questions and that you're not someone who's just going through the motions.
Now is the time to read back through what you wrote and check in. Is it specific? Like, or is it general? Is it really broad? Like, they have weight problems, right? Or is it like very specific? They want to lose that stubborn 10 pounds of belly fat, right? Is it concise or is it really wordy? Did it take you like a Dickens novel to explain the problem and the solution, right? Is it simple? No metaphors here, guys. 4th grade language. No fancy words. Don't make up language either. A lot of people want to make up language here. Don't do that. Is it tangible? Can we see it, touch it, taste it, smell it? Is it clear? Be honest with yourself, because I'm not here to do the work for you. Okay, I'm going to give you another exercise. Hopefully that helped. Now, at this point, you have your before and after. And I just want to try something on. This is a great exercise. If you took our niche masterclass, then we did the same exact exercise. But I want you to imagine that you're at an event with your ideal customers. It's literally an event, a seminar, a conference designed for your ideal customers. And when you really get a sense of that in your mind, let's continue, okay? So you kind of feel without like 1,000 people in the room, all your people. And they've all come there to get this problem solved, okay? Now, let's say you're there and the host of the event comes up to you and says, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. We had one of our speakers, their flight got delayed, and I need a speaker. Will you go and speak?" And this host asks you one question. You got 60 minutes. What's your topic? I want you to think about that. I want you to write that down. If you were to speak for 60 minutes at an event with a bunch of other people talking about similar stuff, what would your keynote speech or topic be about? What would be the title of the presentation? I want you to write down whatever comes up for you. Pause this video if you need to. I'll be here. And when you're back, now I want you to look at what you wrote down. You're not someone going through the motions. See, that's the funny thing. You're going to hear me say this a lot. If you're the type of person that's just trying to get through a course as fast as you can so you can have another completed course under your belt, this is not the right way to do it. I don't know how else to say that. The people that go on and build successful businesses aren't the ones that have completed the most courses, but have taken the most action. So do the work. Okay, so look at what you wrote down as your topic. If this was to be on like a sheet of paper, an agenda, a calendar, a schedule, would attendees come to your event or to your speech? Let's say it's in like breakout rooms. So they have like 4 or 5 different speakers they could choose from. Would they choose yours? Would you be maxed out? Would there be people in the halls like fighting just to get into the room because they want to hear what you have to say? That's when you have an idea of like, okay, we got a good niche, a good promise. Who we're targeting, the problem we solve, the transformation. That's when we can know that we've kind of summed it up a little bit. So hopefully that helps. I wanted to include this in here, okay, as a little bonus thing for you. But what would be the name of your topic at a presentation that would get everyone in the entire conference to go see you? Okay, now it's example time. I'm going to use my Video Traffic Academy, my YouTube example again for you. So we'll go through these really quickly. What results do they have now? Well, if someone has successfully gone through Video Traffic Academy, their videos are now found at the top of Google and YouTube. This is a very specific, tangible, clear outcome, isn't it? Your videos are found at the top of Google and YouTube for the exact keywords that their audience is searching for. They are getting found. As a result, they have more views. They're getting comments. They're getting subscribers. They're getting a following. They're building their list, and it's bringing them more sales. And better yet, people are starting to treat them differently, like a celebrity. Selling is becoming a little bit easier. It's more of like an attraction process, not an uphill battle. Okay, so I started really specific, and then I kind of made it broader from there. How do they feel now? They're feeling excited, inspired, happy, successful. Finally, they feel like they're stepping into that authority leadership role. Who are they now? They're a thought leader in their industry. They're a celebrity thought leader. I really like that whole like celebrity brand for a YouTuber, video marketer. Okay, if we were to film them for a day, what would the camera capture? Well, we'd see videos that are 6 months old, a year old, now getting ranked at the top of search engine. Their views are going up, sales are increasing, right? We'd see that. This person is making even more videos. They're higher quality videos now because this process is working so well. They no longer waste their day on stuff that doesn't work. They're focused, clear, and confident. Some of that stuff's focused, clear, and confident you can't really capture on a camera, but you'd see them making videos. You'd see their videos getting ranked. How does solving this positively affect other areas of their life? Well, they'd have more time with family. They'd start getting product placement deals, maybe a book deal. I've had that happen with my students and clients. They'd start to connect with other influencers more effectively. And they'd become famous in their space. They get recognized on the street. Now, what's the consequence of not solving this problem? Well, eventually, if they don't find a solution to their marketing problem, the doors to their business will have to close, and they'll have to go back to getting a JOB, just over broke, right? Okay, so hopefully that helps give you some examples, but I've got a PDF for you here with some examples from some of our amazing clients, as well as my notes, so you can download that in the PDF. Okay, so if you didn't do the work, now is the time to do it. Answer these questions and take time to critique your own answers. Do not continue to the next video until you've done that. If you are all caught up, I'll see you in the next video because everything we're going to do is going to build upon what we've done so far. So I'll see you there. Take care. All right, Module 3.5, welcome back. If you're all caught up in the last video, we went through a series of exercises, and you answered some questions, and you're starting to get clear on the first and, quite frankly, most important part of crafting an irresistible home run offer, which is nailing the promise. The next P is the process. Now, here's the most important thing I can say. This is not significant. This is not nearly as significant as most people have made it out to be. So don't get in your head about this. In fact, our students get in their heads a lot. So you can learn to be more effective by getting out of your head. People will not buy simply because of the process. They care about the promise first. Now, the process, of course, is the way in which this problem gets solved, right? Like in this video, we're going to figure out, should this be a course or a membership? And I really want you to practice like getting out of your head for this and really just trusting whatever comes up. Because the other thing too is you can have the same promise or very similar promises and offer it in multiple different processes. In other words, you could do a workshop on how to do XYZ. Let's make something up here, like a live in-person workshop for how to do high ticket sales. And then you could record that workshop and sell it as an online course. Same promise, different process, right? Okay? So the promise is the same, and that's the most important part. So let's get into this. First of all, the promise, like I said, is this is how you deliver on the promise. This is the content and the deliverables. This is the medium. Is this a live event, online course, videos, all that type of stuff, right? The location, is this virtual, right? In person. We're also going to talk a little bit about like the resources and other things that get included, like templates and coaching calls and community. Really, all of these things make up the second P, the process. And on your main offer sheet, you're going to take the time by the end of this video to identify all of those things, to just get clear on what the process is. And again, I can't say this enough. It is so secondary to the promise. Okay, the process isn't what does the selling, it's the promise. All right? Okay, so in order to do this effectively, we need to do two things. Number one, we need to get clear on where in your ascension model is this offer. In other words, is this at the top? Is it at the bottom? Is it somewhere in the middle? But which rung of your ascension model is this? And we do have an entire training on the ascension model, and we can, of course, link it up here in this video for you to understand that fully, okay? But the short version is at the bottom is our free content. This is our platform. Then we take people into our like signature flagship program, which you could have multiple here. I know a lot of people, I used to do this as well, like a suite of like 10 products, right? And then there's like a coaching offer or something that offers like more hand-holding. There may be a mastermind or retreats or workshops. And then there's you, like your highest ticket thing. So whatever offer you're working on, we need to see where it fits in this ascension model. So that's the first thing to do. And then we're going to look at what medium or modality. It really helps us to craft an offer when we have a big picture view of all of our different offers, like in one place, right? So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to look at the different mediums, modalities, the pros, the cons, and all that type of stuff. In order to do that, I'm going to quickly go over the 5 types of leveraged value. In other words, someone has a problem. You've got the solution. Here's the way in which we can provide that solution in a leveraged format. Okay? How do we help people? The first is through teaching. You know, anybody who's ever taught one-on-one, you got to say the same thing over and over again with every one of your one-on-one clients, right? You know, you have a call with somebody, you got to spend 20 minutes explaining something to them, and then you got to call in the next hour, you got to spend that first 20 minutes explaining the same thing again. Put it into some sort of video or online training, one-to-many. You create it once, and it can be seen by gajillions of people, just like this video right here. I record this once, and now thousands of people get to receive the information. The next one is coaching and consulting. Okay, coaching and consulting are slightly different, but similar, a lot of similarities. They can be done in a group format and one-on-one format, but I am really talking about leveraged value here. So group coaching. Now, the value and benefit of group coaching is someone else could be getting coached. They could be getting an answer to their question, and you're listening and paying attention, and you get value as well. Heck, how many times have you seen someone else ask a question and you like know the answer? Because it's so much easier to look objectively at what someone else is doing and be like, oh, that's easy. So there's a lot of value in just participating in a group coaching experience. Now, another form of leverage value is community, connection, relationships, accountability, support. Environment is like 90% of success. Surround people in a like-minded, supportive, successful environment, and people become more successful. They step up. Masterminding is very similar to that. It's more like a very well-curated community at a certain level. Masterminding, which I run 2 masterminds, are where people are coaching each other, basically. They do hot seats, and the rest of the group collectively coaches and supports them. It's pretty awesome, right? And then the last one is what I like to call the wheel. You ever hear that phrase, like, don't reinvent the wheel? Imagine saying that to your clients and your customers. Like, hey, I don't want you to reinvent the wheel. That's why I've created this for you. The wheel is a type of value where you're giving resources, templates, done with you type content that gives them their time back. Like, for example, like contracts. Like, let's say you help people get coaching clients. How awesome would it be to like say, oh, I have contract templates here, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. How much value is that to be like, wow, there's a template in here? Like, that's why so much of Business by Design is the execution guides, the processes, like templates for landing pages and sales pages. I'm giving you the wheel. Saves time, saves thinking and brain power, right? So these are the 5 types of leveraged value. This is a great first place to look when we're considering, okay, we got the promise. What's the best way to deliver on this promise? Well, here's the bigger picture, how it's being done. Now, let's bring it into the 4 types of offers or 4 mediums for the offers. First, there's some others, but we're going to focus in on 4. One-on-one coaching. If you're just getting started, you don't have a big audience, I'm going to highly recommend you start here. This is like the top of your ascension model because it's going to be easy for you to get some one-on-one clients. It'll turn into case studies and you'll be able to charge more. So like, if you don't have a big audience, you can still do this. But if you don't have a big audience, and again, what's big, James? Okay, if you have like no list, it's going to be harder for you to get like 50 people to join a $200 course than it is to get 2 or 3 people to pay you like $1,000 a month for some one-on-one coaching. You'd be making more money doing one-on-one coaching right now if you're just getting started, okay? But that's not really what I teach. I mean, we have a process in the launch processes on how to get coaching clients and all that stuff, which is awesome. But I'm really excited and passionate about the leveraged offers, right? The first one is group coaching. And then there's courses and digital type products, memberships, masterminds, and then of course there's in-person stuff like retreats, workshops, live events. Now we do all that stuff, okay? But what we're really focusing on are these 4: group coaching, digital courses, memberships, and masterminds. These are the most like leverage. They're digital, online, scalable stuff, and really exciting. And that's what most of my students come to me for. So we're going to kind of just talk about each of these for a moment, break them all down for you so you get an idea. Group coaching. Let's start there. Group coaching offer combines content and training with some sort of live virtual group coaching component. Like you'll see inside Business by Design, we add a layer of group coaching. We do Zoom calls. We unmute people from the line and we have conversations. There's actual coaching. There's a difference between coaching and teaching. Kind of mentioned it. We're going to go a little deeper here. Coaching is helping people to help themselves. It's helping them apply the how-to content that you taught them. How does this apply to me? Well, boom. That's group coaching in the most simplistic sense. Here's the pro for this type of offer. Higher perceived value so you can charge more. Right? Like an online course by itself is just like training videos. Group coaching is like this experience that you go through with a coach. You don't have to call yourself a coach. I don't. Get more support. Get more handholding. Get more clarity. Also, you can sell it before you create anything. I mean, you can do that with a course too, but you definitely do this because it's created live. It's a group coaching experience. Now, the con, it's technically not as scalable in the sense that, like, if you had 1,000 people in the group coaching program, people wouldn't necessarily find it as valuable, or you might be doing way more Q&A than if you had 100 people or 10 people. But when you're charging more, you don't need as many more. So that's really exciting about that. Okay, let's go to online courses. Everyone's hearing all about courses. Courses, the array of courses about courses, right? This is pre-recorded digital content in a protected members area. The pro is very scalable, passive income. The con, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, no one wants an online course. Most people say they're coursed out. People don't want courses. They don't pay for courses. They pay for results. So it takes a level of marketing and sales skills to sell one effectively. Now, you're in luck because you're going to learn all that here. That's what we're actually going through in this module. But I want you to know that going into this. No one wants a course. If they did, you wouldn't need an entire module on how to craft an irresistible offer. Like if you were selling like cool widgets on Amazon that everyone was searching for, you wouldn't need an entire module on this. It'd be really easy to just sell the widget. You just take a nice picture of it. Similar with memberships. Membership is an online portal where members pay monthly and they remain a member. Maybe they get something every single month. They get a community, they get content, something's drip fed to them every single month. Now the pro, less selling, right? You sell them once and then you get paid every single month. Creates in your business recurring revenue, consistent, predictable revenue. I'm going to say for most businesses out there, most of you guys listening, I would absolutely consider the possibility of creating some sort of recurring revenue in your business model. It brings so much stability and peace of mind to what you're doing. Okay. That's the pro. Now the con is it's probably the hardest sell, because if you asked anybody on the street, hi, would you rather pay one time for this or would you like to pay month after month? There's a lot of resistance there. Now the good news is we have I have a quick fix. It's not a quick fix, but it's the antidote to that hard sell of asking someone to pay month after month. This is what we call the football phone. We teach this as one of our launch strategies. So if you are doing a membership, OMG, you got to do the football phone strategy. That's one of our launch execution guides. Works wonderfully well. Another con is it can start to compete with your other products. So this is something to be mindful of. I found myself running into this. We sold a $300 video product, and then we have a $50 a month video membership. And people would say, why am I paying $300 for this, but $50 a month for that? I'm just going to pay the $50.
So we want to be really careful. This is why I'm really encouraging my students to flush out their full ascension model, just to see the big picture of how all the products work together, so that there isn't any of that confusion. Why am I paying $300 for this and $50 for that? And it's like, well, you're paying $50 a month, but sometimes it's not always logical for people. So just something there to consider. Now, all right, next we have masterminds. Now, I love masterminds. If you've ever been a part of a peer or paid mastermind, they're like one of the most valuable things ever. Oh my gosh, life-changing. I've been a part of a mastermind almost every single year of my business career. It's life-changing. This can be a virtual or in-person experience that follows a very specific format that allows for the group to provide coaching for themselves, like to coach each other. Now, the pro is that this is an opportunity to be very high ticket. One of our masterminds, $50,000 to be a member of. Another pro, it's very, 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 very effective. Oh my goodness. The amount of growth, breakthroughs, life-changing transformations that can happen in there is so exciting. And for that reason, I just love it. The con, it's a big commitment for you. It's time-consuming. It's money, a lot of energy, right? And you got to be really good at attracting the right members. Not just people that have the right money, but just the right character, attitude, personality. If you attract the wrong people, this can become a real heavy thing. It's also a very long-term thing. I tell a lot of students that come to me and say they want to start a mastermind, I said, prepare for this, the first year to 2 years being a bumpy journey. It takes 2 to 3 years to really get the mastermind at the level you want it. But it's still amazing. I love our masterminds. They're so awesome. Okay. So there you have it. Just a quick rundown of identifying what the right process is for you, the right modality, the right medium to sell your thing. Chances are you kind of already had an idea. Maybe this just offered a different insight. But at this point, this is where you're going to want to choose. Membership, course, mastermind, group coaching, one-on-one coaching. Maybe it's a retreat. Maybe it's a workshop, live event. Maybe you already knew it coming through, so this is really easy. But in order to proceed, write something down to identify it. You can always go back and change it. This is a process. It's a messy process. Give yourself permission to make it messy. But at this time, at least write down something. Okay? We can always come back. All right. If you've done that, I'll see you in Module 3.6. We're going to take this a little bit deeper. See you there. All right. Welcome back, Module 3.6. We're going to talk about pricing today. This is a really cool exercise and some conversations we're going to have around what I call the pricing framework. So if you've been asking that question, like, what should the price be, right? In fact, this is probably the biggest question I get all the time. How much should I charge for this course, membership, blah, blah, blah? How much should I charge for it? That is the question that we're going to be answering here today. But like most of what I teach, we're going to do it from a hashtag backwards, counterintuitive approach, the right way. Because one of the first things we want you to really get here is that price is relative. Because the first thing I want you all to get here is that price is relative. In fact, there's a fantastic book by an author, a gentleman by the name of Dan Ariely, called Predictably Irrational. This book is like game changer because it talks about all these social studies that he did around the psychology of pricing and how irrational people's behavior is when it comes to money. Fascinating, eye-opening, and mind-blowing. But price is relative. So if I say, is $1,000 a lot of money? Well, you tell me. Is it? Is $1,000 a lot of money? If you said yes or no, you're wrong. It is a lot of money, and it isn't a lot of money because price is relative. If a candy bar was $1,000, that's a lot of money. If a martini in Las Vegas was $1,000, that's a lot of money. But $1,000 for your dream home or for a Lamborghini, well, that's like the cheapest amount of money ever, right? Price is relative. Now, something like your dream home and that Lambo has an inherent value already attached to it, right? Your stuff doesn't.
that's on you, my friend. That's on you. That's why the first piece of this was nailing the promise starts to speak to the value that you deliver. And we're going to go deeper with that today. But I want you to consider for a moment that because price is relative, when people say things like too expensive, that too expensive isn't a fact, it's a belief. Oh, James, I decided to lower my prices because my audience said my stuff was too expensive or that they can't afford it. No, they just don't see the value because you didn't do a good enough job conveying the value. If you conveyed the value of a Lamborghini and then charged $1,000, everyone would buy. Do you know anybody here that would not buy a Lamborghini for $1,000, even if they didn't have a dollar to their name? You don't even have to like Lamborghinis. You just buy one because it's the deal of the century, and then you can go flip it, right? Go sell it for $100,000 and make some money, right? The value's there. So when people are saying it's too expensive, they're actually saying, I didn't see the value. Now, whose responsibility is it to do that? So that's the first thing. Don't worry, we're going to deal with all this stuff. But the second thing is I want you to get that price is marketing. Most people don't get that. When you get this is a game changer. Price is marketing. It's part of your marketing. People want to buy the best. They want to buy expensive stuff. They do. When you find out that something costs a lot of money, you immediately go, "Ooh, that must be really nice. Oh, have you seen this brand? Their shirts are like $500. Must be really nice. I want to get me one of those shirts." Price itself is marketing. Okay, so what is your price doing to convey your brand and your value itself? Something to consider. But here's how we're not going to answer this question. Here's what we're not going to do. This is the wrong way to answer the pricing question. How much would people be willing to pay for X? This question is banned from our Facebook group, Inside Business by Design. You're no longer allowed to ever ask this question. Hey, James, I'm thinking of creating a course showing people how to do X, Y, Z. How much would people be willing to pay for this? This is one of the worst questions. Quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask, and this is a low quality question. Why? Because if you ask that question, people would always be willing to pay as little as possible if given the choice. If I say, hey, I've got this Lamborghini, would you rather pay $1,000 or $500? Come on, you'd rather pay $500. If you were given the option to pay less, you'd pay less. Most of us would. Some people here are like, no, I like spending more money, right? Okay, so people are always going to want to pay less. So this is the wrong question. So if you keep asking that question and you come up with answers from that point, what you fall into is a pricing war. And in a pricing war, everyone loses. You become the Walmart of your industry. When your competitive advantage is worth a cheaper price, you lose because someone else can just come up with a cheaper price than that. And you attract the lowest quality, lowest caliber customers. Is that what you want? You know, there's a website called People of Walmart. You can go Google this. And it's photos of like just some very interesting and colorful characters that find themselves at Walmart at like 1 a.m. You can just go Google it if you want. And I'm just going to say, there's not a website called People of Saks Fifth Avenue. Only a website for People of Walmart. Because that lowest price attracts a different caliber individual. The tire kicker, the freebie seeker, the person that wants the cheapest thing possible. And why this is so important is look at the industry that you are in. In some form or another, you are selling personal development. It's content, information, coaching to better someone's life, whether it's their health, relationship, their business, or something else. It's some form of personal development, right? And what does that say about the person that wants the cheapest, lowest price personal development? What does that say about the value they put on their own life and the changes they want and the transformation they want when they want to go for the cheapest option? Hey, I want to build $1 million business, but I want to get the $10 ebook to show me how to do it. That's who I want to hire. The $10 ebook. I want to learn it from the $10. I'm not willing to spend any more than that. See what I'm saying? What kind of person is that? So we're going to bring this all together in a moment, but I just really want you to get this. How critically important price plays such a pivotal role in your marketing and your branding. And we'll get into this whole belief in a moment of, well, if I raise my prices, not as many people will buy. We'll address that, don't worry. But instead of saying how much are people willing to pay, what are they willing to pay, what will they afford, a better question is, how much is this transformation, like what we did in the last 2 videos, actually worth to my ideal customer? Not just to anyone, but to my ideal customer. So here's how this is going to work. This is a great little exercise you can take yourself through. I love little exercises. First of all, this is really fun. Identify a revenue goal. Let's say you want to do a launch or promotion. Identify a revenue goal. Pick that right now. Boom. I said $50,000. Come up with a number. Even just get out of your head about it. Just write down a number. Like, it'd be really nice to go do this promotion and make 20 grand. Great. Pause this video. Write that down on a new piece of paper or a PDF or a workbook, right? Do that, and then let's continue. The second thing is I want you to identify a minimum of 3 ways to make this happen. 3 ways to generate that, in this case, $50,000. Well, here's one way. I could sell $5,000 products to 10 people. 10 times 5,000 equals 50,000. I could have a $2,000 product and sell it to 25 people, or I could sell a $1,000 product to 50 people. That's what I want you to do. If you want to come up with more ways, great. Okay, but identify a minimum of 3. Pause this video. Do that now. Okay, did you do that? Good, because you're not the type of person that just goes through the motions. You're actually taking actions so you can get the results that you want. Now you're going to just pick the one that feels really good to you. In other words, do this test. As you look at all these options, look at all of them and say, I know that all of them will work. And if you knew for a fact that all of them would work, which one would you be most excited to do? Pick that one. Circle it. Okay? I picked this one, 10 at 5,000. I need 10 people to pay me $5,000, and I'll get my $50,000 goal. Cool. All right. That's it. Now, number 4, you want to ask the question, what would I need to provide to make this worth a minimum of 10 times the price? So the price I chose was $5,000 times 10 is 50. So don't get that confused with the revenue goal. It just happens that they're the same. What would I need to provide? What value would I need to deliver? What would they need to get? What would need to happen? What would I need to communicate and convey to them to make this worth a minimum of $50,000? When you create your price and your offer from this place, you create an irresistible offer at the highest price possible. If you don't do this exercise and this work, you run the risk of doing 2 things: far undercharging and far, far undervaluing what it is you do. Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. This is exactly what we're doing here. Take the time, do this assignment. Okay, the other thing I want to bring in is a great distinction. I learned this years ago. This is one of the first marketing things I discovered. I love it. It's called the apples and oranges comparison. Remember when people your whole life said, don't compare apples to oranges? This is where everything in marketing business completely flipped on its head. This is exactly what you want to do, is compare apples and oranges. You want to identify, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to write this down, identify the other options that are available in the marketplace and their costs. In other words, if you're selling a course on how to do something, how much would it cost to hire someone to do this for you, for them, right? For example, this is my favorite example. This is the cheesiest ebook cover I could ever get. Fitness. Please don't ever make an ebook like this. Fitness. Discover home workouts for the perfect body, right? Awful ebook. It's just to convey a point. Here's an ebook on how to lose weight, and then an option. Let's say you're selling this ugly ebook and you, first of all, rebrand it. Second of all, you say, so that's what you're selling. It's how to lose weight, at home workouts. Awesome. Well, let's look at the alternatives. The alternative is you could hire a personal trainer. So the ebook's what? $37? How much is a personal trainer? Well, $150 a session. Okay? The ebook is for 90 days of training. So how much is that personal trainer going to cost over the course of 90 days? I mean, that's a couple $1,000. Apples and oranges comparison. So then in our marketing, we're sitting there saying, well, here are your other options. You could hire a personal trainer at $150 or $100 a session, which is going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000 over the course of 3 or 4 months, or whatever the price is. You got to do the math. But you don't have to pay that. You can get the same content, same training, same information of a high-end, well-regarded, certified personal trainer in this program for just $37. Apples, oranges comparison. I want you to identify at least 2 other options that are apples and oranges comparisons of what other people could pay for that's more money than what you deliver, charging more money. And as a bonus, make one of those options, number 3 option, your option. In other words, how much would you charge to work one-on-one? How much would you charge for an hour of consulting or a VIP day with you? So in total, 3. 2 other options that they have, like hire someone or do this or pay for that or buy this, or, one of your options as well, okay? 3 total apples and oranges comparisons. Okay, and then one of the last things I want to talk about is how, just to remind you that every market is different. So we don't have any universal prices. I can't just throw out a price because every market's different. So for example, Patty Palmer teaches art teachers. They don't spend thousands of dollars, to buy art curriculums. They don't have that type of money, most likely, as an art teacher. But there's a high volume of art teachers in the country and on the globe. So that's why it's a lower priced monthly membership. And it's a very lucrative membership. And I think she's about like $30, $37 a month. But the goal is to still be in the top 10% of your market. So it's kind of like looking at the whole array of the price point of your market and then making sure you're in that top 10% bracket, if not the highest. Or at least that's the goal, is to get you to the highest price points, the most expensive, okay? Now, again, like I said, that's relative to what your industry is, so compare it to your industry and your audience. Now, let's talk about when you have higher prices. Kind of touch upon these benefits, but I am encouraging you to go higher. You can start low and move up, but I want to always encourage you to go to those higher prices because higher perceived value. There's just an automatic higher perceived value when the price is high. You, again, like I said before, you attract higher caliber and committed students. And by the way, it's not more effort. Because you're attracting higher quality people, it's less effort on the sale and it's less effort on the delivery. It's those lower paying clients that are going to be the tire kickers. They're going to be the ones that ask a million questions that, like, for lack of better terms, like, they're just going to be a pain in your butt. Trust me, I've been doing this for a long time. Also, what happens when you charge lower because you don't have confidence, you're afraid people aren't going to buy, all that type of stuff, there tends to be then a lot of resentment. Okay, so I'll cut myself short. I won't really honor and value what it is that I deliver. I'll go way cheaper. And then you start to resent your clients as if it's their fault that you chose the price you chose. And I just don't want that happening to anybody here. Okay? I'd rather you work with less people, but you're making more money. Now, I know we have maybe some objections or thoughts that are coming up, so I want to address those, right? Like, one of them is, if I raise my prices, James, I'm going to have less people buy. Okay, but how many less people? Like, have you considered that? If that's you right now, how much will your conversions go down? And how do you know that for a fact, really? So let's say you have a $97 product and you raise the price to $197. What you're doing there is you're doubling the price of the program. And let's say it cuts down your conversion rates. I'm just going to make up numbers here, from 10% to 7%. Oh no, my conversion rates went down. Well, you're still increasing your revenue by 42%. So by doubling the price, you may have a lower conversion rate, but you're still making more revenue, and now you're attracting a higher caliber student. So yeah, less people will buy, but you're still going to make more revenue, and you're going to attract better, higher paying clients, higher caliber, more committed clients. Okay, so that's really something to consider. Really keep in mind. By the way, pricing is never permanent. You can go back. There's no rule saying you can't. So you can go back. You can try it to a small segment as well. Now, of course, there's another objection. Now, of course, there's another thought that comes in, a lot of an objection that people will say, like, James, I feel bad, like I'm going to leave my people behind. Okay. Like I'm not helping them if I raise my prices too much. And I really want to challenge against that for many reasons. First of all, I recommend you have free stuff so you can help as many people as possible with your free stuff. So first of all, if someone's not at a place where they can afford it, give them a podcast. Give them YouTube videos. Let them start there. Number two, it's very easy for us to superimpose our beliefs around money, module 1, onto our customers. And that's not really fair of you to do, to say that you have beliefs around money, that therefore they're going to have those same beliefs. And we just really don't know. At the end of the day, when people don't put skin in the game, when people don't make that commitment backed by a big financial investment, they don't get committed and they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. And that's when you're not helping them. That's where the problem persists. So thinking that by lowering the price is going to help more people is so counterintuitive, because when you lower the price, you lower the commitment. Lower commitment means lower the chance that they're going to actually get results. Now, on top of that, what you can do is, we don't have a process built out for this, but this is very simple. You can have a scholarship program. There's 2 ways you can do a scholarship, if this is still a concern for you. One is where you can do a contest around it, where people submit a video and you pick a few people, say, why do you believe that you deserve a scholarship? And then you pick some people every year in your launches, or every time you do a launch. And the other one is, anytime someone writes in saying, do you have a scholarship? You can have a reply that says, yes, we do, and you give them a homework assignment. The homework assignment should be something like, read this book, answer these following questions, and if you answer the questions, we'll give you the program. We've done this for years, and why this is so great is because it qualifies them. See, they have to put skin in the game. The skin in the game is they have to stop everything they're doing. They have to go read a 150-page book, and they have to go write this like 5-page essay. And this is really sad. This is really tragic, but most people won't do that. We've had people say it's too much work. I didn't have time. And so we won't honor the scholarship. And it's really tragic because it's really indicative about why they're in their current circumstances. When we're going to give something like, a $3,000 program to someone who's willing to go through that process, if they really are in a dire circumstance, then they're not willing to do that extra little work. They weren't really committed in the first place. And if they weren't committed to do that scholarship assignment, they're not going to be committed to do the work. So we think we're helping them by making them a charity case and giving them our program. They're not going to do anything with it. They're not going to value it. So I really hope you guys get this, because this is like vitally important. And lastly, I just want to leave you with this. You've probably heard this before, but no matter what price you end up charging, there's always going to be people that can pay for it, which means there's always going to be people that say they can't afford it. I have sold a $7 ebook before in online marketing space and had people who say they can't afford it, and I've had people refund it. $7 ebook, and people have asked for a refund. And it was a damn good ebook. $7, folks. No matter what price you charge, there will always be someone who says they cannot afford it. You do not come up with the price from what you think people will afford, because there will always be those that can't. So I hope you took the time to do really 2 things here. Go through that exercise I shared and look at the rest of your market for a little bit. What are the average prices that other people are charging for similar type offers? You want to be in that top 10%, okay? At this point, you want to start to come up with a price. Oh, and lastly, I've got one more important thing here. From this moment forward in your marketing, the words price and cost are completely going to be removed from your vocabulary when you're talking about your stuff. We want to replace them with terms like investment, because that's what this really is. I like to use words like just and only. The investment is only or just this, okay? So no longer using cost, price, the expense, anything like that. It's an investment, always, because it is an investment, right? Okay, so the point of this video is to get you clarity on your price. I get it. You're going to be in your head about it. You're going to overthink it a little bit. You're going to think, I want to actually do this, but I don't really believe that I can charge that much, and all that kind of stuff's going to come up. Awesome. We're going to work through that, but the goal of this video is to write down a price. Now remember, you can always change it. You can always go up, and you can come back down. There's no rule saying that anything is permanent. So give yourself permission to write something down. And I really want you to go through those 2 exercises, the exercise I laid out here and to look at the landscape of the rest of your marketplace. All right. This was the very simple pricing framework to help you identify the price of your irresistible offer. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. All right, welcome back. This is module 3.7. In this video, we are going to figure out, identify, flush out your bonuses or your bundle or your value add. And this is really important because I think, like that idea of banner blindness, I think people have bonus blindness. And people see like, oh, they have bonuses, I should have bonuses. And they don't really know why they should have bonuses. They don't know the underlying principles beneath them. And we're going to handle that. We're going to take care of this. So we're kind of talking about 2 things. Adding bonuses. Now, bonus we could call a gift. It's an incentive. This is a way to add value. And here's the key word. After the 3 Ps, after the promise, the process, and the price has been presented. It's this whole idea of as soon as you've made the core offer, you're like, it does this, it's for you, and it's going to do that, and it's only $9.97. You say that, and then the buyer, your prospect, is on the other end in consideration. They're thinking about it. They're processing. They're going, is this too much money? What am I comparing this to? I don't know, right? And then some of them are already like, oh, this is great. Yeah, okay, I can do this. And then you throw in your bonuses, and it's like, oh, heck, now it's a no-brainer. This is one of the key indicators that makes an offer irresistible. When it was already like a yeah or I'm interested, and then you throw this in. Very strategic. We got to be here, okay? Now, bundles is similar but different. It's where it's kind of like discounting, but not. I don't like discounting. You'll never hear me teach you how to discount. I think you should absolutely never do it. Don't do it. Don't discount. But you will, see or hear of like bundling. Bundling is when you're like, hey, I've got these 2 products. They sell for $97, and for the next 48 hours, you can get them both for the price of one. That's a great offer. Bundling is adding value without like touching the price, basically. Okay, so you're not actually discounting. Okay, but we're going to focus primarily on bonuses, and we're going to look at the 3 types of bonuses. The first is our core bonuses. These are the ones that will come right after the offer, the initial offer, like the promise, process, and price. They add value, and here's the ninja thing. Oh, you're just going to love me so much from this because what I'm about to share in this video is going to blow your mind. It's adding value, and it's going to simultaneously eliminate any other remaining objections. And you're going to learn more about objection busting in Module 4, and that's going to blow your freaking mind. But your bonuses are going to help to eliminate objections too. Then we have something called fast-acting bonuses, which we would layer on top of a core bonus to incentivize fast action or taking action now. So you can have a card open bonus. You could have a webinar-only attendee bonus, right? Do it now is basically the whole idea. And if you act now, or rather, instead of if, you want to say when, like, and when you act now, and when you enroll today, and if you're on this webinar, when you enroll, not if, when you enroll before the end of this webinar, you'll also receive, right? And then there's time-delayed bonuses. That's what I call it. It's like a ticking time bomb, where it's like you're in a launch, you're in an open cart period, and now you're adding new bonuses as you go through it. So it's kind of like taking those core bonuses and instead of going, here's like 10 gifts, which you don't want to do all at once, that's like very overwhelming and dilutes it, okay? It's a couple, and then here's another one, and then here's one more, right? Time-delayed bonuses. And that's actually a really important point to bring up is... it's a great metaphor analogy. When I was a little kid, my mom would, when I wanted orange juice, she would dilute it with a little bit of water. I don't know why. I think it just takes the tang out of it a little bit. Did your mom ever do that for you, like dilute your OJ when you were a kid? Well, too many bonuses dilutes the bonuses. It's about, it's law of diminishing returns. So 25 bonuses, it's like, well, they must not be worth very much if he's just like throwing a million things out there. So it's not a matter of having a ton. It's the right bonuses strategically placed the right way. There's no magic number. It could be 2 bonuses. It could be 1 bonus. It could be 5 bonuses. If you're going more than that, like, oh boy. Now I do bonus bundles. What? So I have in BBD, you might have noticed, I have like a fast start entrepreneur bundle, and it's like 2 or 3 bonuses packaged together for the entrepreneur that's just getting started. And that was because I was starting to get a lot of bonuses, and I'm like, oh boy, I got to fix this because it's going to start diluting it. Okay. So it's a bonus bundle. You could do that. That's really cool. Well, it's so funny what I did here. 3 types of bonuses, and ironically, there's a 4th one. And what's the 4th one? Unadvertised bonuses. You see what I did there? I am hilarious. Okay, so your 4th type of bonus is the unadvertised bonus, which means, I mean, I think this is my favorite type of bonus. I just like, everyone should have unadvertised bonus. What do you mean, James? It's gifts that weren't part of the sale. They're surprises. It's a bonus that is a surprise. It's a post-sale bonus. And what that's really designed to do is like, eliminate buyer's remorse. It's designed to get people to actually go through your stuff. I've heard stories of people that like bought a program and like didn't do anything with it, and then they like got something in the mail. And they were like, okay, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go check this thing out. And those little things like push people like into action, or, get them to be, it's like going that 1% extra makes like 1,000,000% difference. So did you get your welcome package yet? If not, you will, unless you gave us some weird address. And inside that welcome package, which you had no idea was coming, is a ton of unadvertised bonuses, including vaulted content from our masterminds, like some of our best presentations from our masterminds. Boom! I wasn't part of the pitch. It wasn't part of the sale. It was just like, hey, by the way, the gifts keep coming. I love that. I love how I chose to say 3 types of bonuses because this is the unadvertised one, right? Geez, I entertained myself way too much. Okay, let's talk about bonus best practices, shall we? This isn't just about adding more content. Like, for example, let's say you teach people, what's something I kind of know? How to surf. There we go. I looked at a picture of me surfing. And okay, so you got this like how to surf guide, and then like you have a bonus is like how to choose the right board. That's a great example of how to choose the right board on any budget for any skill level. Ooh, that's a great bonus, right? Then you got like a surf fitness training regimen bonus. Ooh, that's also a good bundle or a bonus. But then you start going to like things like how to also kite surf. And then you got another bonus on like how to wakeboard. And then you got another bonus on how to boogie board, bodyboard. It's like, whoa, wait. It's like something that could just totally be another course that they could buy, and now you're like throwing it in there. It's like, wait, why are you giving all, huh? So you gotta be, that's like, that dilutes it. And here's the other thing, is that if you start adding all these bonuses that are just content and training, then it does the adverse effect. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to learn this too. I got to learn this too. That's so much, right? So it's not just content and training. You should have like one like content training thing. But notice I said a buyer's guide. That's not like what I mean by like training videos. That's like a resource, right? So you want to look for ways in your bonuses to make your customers' lives easier. Is it not easier to have like a buyer's guide? Like, here's the boards we recommend. Here's the sizes. It's a grid on what your height and your weight is. Yeah, that makes their lives easier. So I'd include it. Templates, guides, software. One of the best pieces of advice that I'll share. Well, I got a lot of great advice for you. I've been doing this a long time. But here is one of the best pieces of advice that most people will never take me up on. Adding software as one of your bonuses is going to be a game changer. We've done this before. Game changer. James, I'm not a programmer. I know you're not. Doesn't stop you from making software. Go to Upwork.com, get a programmer, design something. This can be like a WordPress plugin to a small thing, and you don't have to start with this, but this is something you add on. And it's when it's a software component that makes their lives easier by going through the training. Oh, it's so good. So good. And any other resources. Like, for example, when we sold our local video academy program, we had a ready-made website WordPress theme for them. So they could like upload the WordPress theme and it had all the stuff built out. Are you kidding? That alone is amazing. And it was a bonus. It was like, hey, you're going to learn how to get paid to sell videos to local businesses. And by the way, you'll probably need a website. So we've already created one for you. This is a plug and play template. You download WordPress, you create your domain, you upload this theme that we're giving you, and it's fully designed with all the copy, with all the pages, everything. You just got to fill in the blanks. What? That's an amazing bonus. Guys, that's what I'm talking about. You got to come up with really amazing, juicy stuff that just people are going to be like, that's irresistible. Irresistible means I can't resist it. There's no way I could resist this. I'm trying to resist, but I can't. I want it so bad. We've got to over-deliver so much, so that they feel comfortable paying whatever the price is. Just pour into your people. Give them everything. I mean, I don't want to say give them everything, but, go above and beyond and come up with these amazing high-value bonuses. It's just going to make it a no-brainer. And then lastly, if it can simultaneously address their objections, you, my friend, are officially a marketing ninja. You're a wizard. Let me show you how to do that. First of all, there's two types of objections. There's universal and product-specific. Universal means we all have these in common. Every single one of us that's listening to these videos, including yours truly, are going to have the objections such as, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, it won't work for me, I don't trust you, whatever, right? Those are universal. We're talking about product-specific ones, like the ones specific to what you teach or what you're talking about. So I, taught video for the longest time, so there's a lot of video-specific objections. That's what we're talking about, the specific ones, okay? So let's use that as an example. This is ninja when you do this, okay? So you want to flush out all the objections that people would have about your thing, your vehicle, your method, whatever it is you teach. If you teach Instagram, it's objections about Instagram. If you teach dog training, you got to have objections about dog training in general. How to train a dog. Like, what are my objections when it comes to training a dog? Training a dog from home, right? All that stuff. Okay. So one of the biggest ones, people would say video is too techie. I'm not a techie. Video is too techie. I have a face for radio. They don't want to be on camera, right? They don't like how they look on camera. Video is too time consuming. So let's ask this question. If someone's sitting there and they believe video is too techie, I'm not a techie, I don't like how I look on video, I don't want to be on video, and it's too time consuming, are they going to buy? Even if I've made the best case in the world, are they going to buy? Probably not. And I can address these objections. What if I can address these objections by also simultaneously at the same time be delivering bonuses that add value to their lives? That's called a double whammy, my friends. And here's, I got one more. Video is too expensive, right? Like all the equipment. Here's how I did it. First of all, video is too techie. Hey, that's why I've got a bonus training on how to use your smartphone. You already carry the best camera with you in your pocket all day long. I've got a mini course on how to use your smartphone to start making high-quality videos. In fact, here's an example of one of these videos. You couldn't even tell it was made with an iPhone, could you? Nope. Next one, I've got a face for radio. I don't like how I look on camera. Hey, that's okay. I've got 9 strategies for making what I call faceless videos. Videos that outperform videos of you with you in it. Videos with text and animations, and how you can make these videos without being in front of the camera. Video's too time consuming. I say, you know what? It is. That's why you should outsource your editing. And I've put together a step-by-step video outsourcing mini course. You can find a video outsourcer for $6 an hour, which, by the way, you guys have that course worth checking out. It's in your course library. And that way it won't be time consuming. And video is too expensive. And then I give them my smartphone buyer's guide. For less than $100, you can have a $2,000 style video camera. $2,000 quality video with your iPhone and $100. Buyer's guide. Boom. Address the objections by delivering bonuses. In this video, you're going to identify your bonuses for your irresistible offer. And these bonuses, not all of them, of course, but they should address the big objections that people have. Take the time to do this. Think of resources, templates. Ask yourself those questions. What's going to help them get results faster, quicker, easier? Can you do meditations, audios, a 7-day quick start guide, resources, templates, files, something that's going to just go, oh, this is amazing. This is exactly what I need. Okay? Figure out your bonuses, and then I'll see you in the next video. All right, welcome to Module 3.10, 3.10. I know it's a lot. I get it. But I don't want you missing any of this. It's so important. And this one can be simple, easily overlooked, but is massively important. This is the story behind the offer. We began to talk about it a little bit in the previous video, talking about scarcity and urgency. But like your ideal customers are like a 2-year-old. What I mean that, like a 2-year-old is always asking why. Well, that's what your prospects are going to do. They're going to ask why. And the short answer, the short version here, the short lesson message here is that if you're not answering that question, they'll answer it themselves. And their answer is never going to be as good as yours. Okay? So, let's talk about the power of why. There's this really fascinating study, maybe you've heard of it, of these people standing in line to get copies made, printer copies, right? And so they did this social experiment to see if how effectively they could cut in front of these people. And the first study, they said, the first example, the strategy they used was just saying, hey, can I cut in front of you? And then they measured the success rate. What percentage of people said yes? What percentage of people said no? And then they did it again, and they started using different things. Like, I'm in a hurry, right? Hey, do you mind if I cut in front of you because I'm in a hurry? Do you mind if I cut in front of you? My kid's in the car, right? Whatever it is. And they gave reasons, and they immediately saw a drastic uptake on the performance, the yeses that they got. Oh, yeah, of course, with these reasons. But then they decided to just use the word because and not really give a really good reason. So they literally tested, hey, do you mind if I cut in front of you because I need to make copies? Well, obviously everyone in the line for the copy machine needs to make copies, but there was no real reason why. And it still got the yeses. It still performed just as good as the other ones, which really says it's not really the power of why, it's the power of because, but it's the power of why. It's the power of answering the reason why. And you need to do that in your offer, in your marketing, and in your messaging. If you don't tell them why, they'll come up with their own why. So specifically, why is there this sale? Why is there a webinar? Why are you doing this launch? Why are you doing this thing? Why did you create a discount? Why is there a discount? There's a deadline. Why is there a deadline? You added this bonus. Why? Why? We have to answer these questions. Even it's just like, hey, look, this is how easy it is. So many of my students ask me, how can I get, video camera gear really cheap? Even if it's like, hey, so many of my students ask me, how do I get camera gear for my iPhone for under $100? And it's for that very reason that I created an iPhone buyer's guide, and I want to give it to you absolutely free. Like, there's a narrative behind it. So you control the story, and you craft that why behind the offer. I mean, you don't need to flush this all out too much, but anytime you're talking about any of the things that we've talked about here in this module, you need to let people know. What inspired this content that you're sharing? What inspired this promotion? What's the story behind it? Why is there a guarantee? Why are you offering a payment plan? Why are you offering this bonus? Again, it's the story behind the offer. What is it? I know it's simple, but I cannot stress this enough. If you don't answer it, they'll answer it themselves. And their answer is never going to be as good as yours. Okay, it was simple. Now, what you can do is you can go back to your offer sheet with all your ingredients, and you can kind of just make some notes about what is the why behind this. You know, when I did my Nail Your Niche workshop, I just said, I've seen so many people stopped here for far too long because they don't know their niche, and we got to get them past this. We got to solve this. That was it. I just said, I see this as a massive problem right now. That's why I'm doing this. Simple, right? All right. Identify the why. Identify the story, the narrative behind what it is that you're doing. Do that. And basically, guess what? You are done. I've got a few more little training videos to kind of wrap this up for you as a little bonus, but we've just went through all your essential ingredients for mapping out your irresistible home run offer. All right, I'll see you in that next video.